everybody. How's it going? Cue the music. It's Sunday. Wow. Day 4 of the quad stream extravaganza. I cannot believe it's already here. It's amazing that we made it this far. And I welcome you all to the chat. How's everybody doing today? Do I look vegan today? Oh no, that's not a good compliment there. Just gonna say hi, Anina. Have a good day. Thank you, thank you. How's the chat doing? I got here 1 minute late. That is unacceptable in my opinion. I had to go pee. Nature called. Had some vegan bladder problems. John Steroid Walker, who needs more steroids? That guy's tight. I actually respect that guy for just being openly on the juice and being actually jacked. Yeah, we have Rob Stewart on the channel today, guys. He's going to be on in a few minutes, maybe about 28 minutes from now. This is the Drew Experience. Welcome, Dominique Canuck. Wildstyle has to head out. I am so sorry you're not going to be able to be here for the whole stream. What's up, Tess? Drew, what time do you wake up in the morning as a vegan versus carnivore? The same. My preferred time to sleep has always been midnight to 8 a.m. I would probably do that for the rest of my life. I like to go to bed at midnight. I like to wake up at 8 a.m. That is like my cycle. My sleep cycle. I know people got all kinds of different opinions about it. You know, you should be waking up with the sun and going to bed at 9. Your circadian rhythm. I'm going to say it right here, right now. That's some hippie shit. That is some hippie shit. Do you guys feel like we're one unit now, being that this is the 4th stream in a row? I feel like I haven't stopped streaming. 3 hours a day, 4 days in a row, 4 different interviews, all well-known people on YouTube. How are we going to top this? I don't know if we can. Sweet, waking up with warm lemon water still? I never did that. I drink coffee. I go straight to coffee. Planetary Farms sleeps from 2 a.m. to 10 p.m. Say what? What's up, Luke? Tess, I'm sorry. The other streams are fire. The one yesterday was banging. If you want to see Evan Rock, he was on Friday. That's a good one too. We get a little bit philosophical with it. We talk about memories of Hawaii and stuff like that. I never really gotten too into the details of what we did in Hawaii. Yeah, it's good. We have Kate, health coach Kate. We get a little technical and a little nutty on the geeky, keto stuff, carnivore stuff. Talk to her about her clients and their results and stuff like that. It's a good listen as well. How many subscribers have you gained? Since when? Since this weekend? Not many, like a couple hundred. If you guys subscribe, it actually pops up on the screen.
Here comes the real steak. But just look at the texture of this thing.
Horatio, thank you for the $2 donation. Drew, do you believe in the supernatural world? We'll get to that in a second. I'm not going to forget that one. I got a good story for you. I see Jason Joseph up in here. What's up, Jason? My vegan friend. Hello, Anita. The Bobby stream was fire yesterday. Like, we didn't even have time to get to the chat. That's how cranking we were. You think Evan Rock was your favorite show? Awesome. I'm glad I had him on then. Yeah, the Evan stream was fun. He's always good to talk to. We just talked for like 2 hours the other night. So that's a lot of conversation for us to have in such a short span of time. Usually we'll go like a few weeks or like a month or 2, and then we'll catch up, and it just flows so well, and there's so much conversation. By the way, guys, I'm officially on the honey. I bought honey last night. I'm sucking it down right out of the bottle. Jason, you like the videos? That's my favorite part, man. That's my favorite part. Everybody's talking about their sleep now. Nah, Tess, you catch the live stream. You want to be here for the live stream, go back and revisit the Kate video and the Evan video and the Bobby video if you want. We talked a lot about like a lot of drama shit in the Bobby video. Amazingly, not demonetized. That's a first with Bobby. A non-demonetized video. Incredible. Warm welcome, everybody. What's up, Honest? What's up, Joe? My mods are like just the most consistent people of all time. Raw honey and yogurt. So last night I was sucking down the honey with some milk to wash it down. Wow. That felt like jet fuel. Like I was shivering with energy. It was, I'm not going to say it was the most comfortable thing. What's up, Roberto? From Italia. Cream and honey in the coffee. Oh, the bees. I ain't worried about the bees. I got stung when I was a kid. Fuck the bees. Manuka honey. Yeah, get the gut right, baby. The Manuka was grown right there in the Big Island. There was like huge droves of Manuka down in the south. It was cool. When you drove down to this place called South Point to go jump off the cliffs into the water, which was my favorite thing in Hawaii, by the way. They had the Manuka farms right there. I think it's all grown in I think that's like where the original Manuka is, and there's also the New Zealand grown stuff because I saw that in the store too. I bought like the basic stuff. I bought the organic, raw, but also the basic. I didn't buy any of the crazy $30 a bottle stuff. I can't afford that. Mine was like $7 a bottle for a good size. It's going to last me a while. Raw honey and raw milk, I'm sure that is really good. But yeah, so basically I had steak for dinner, and then I had a big guzzle of honey, and then I swigged it down with my milk. And I was like, I was electrified after my meal. Like I said, I'm not gonna promote that as feeling amazing. I might have to cut that back. So again, if you're just tuning in, you see the stream is live. Rob will be on in about 20 minutes. I'll be sending him the link for the stream in a second here. And yes. Would you ever try? Oh, let's get to Horatio. So Horatio asked me, $2 donation. Thank you, by the way, Horatio, Washington. Says, Drew, do you believe in the supernatural world? So, look, I'm not into the hippie shit, guys. You know that. I'm anti-hippie shit. But the supernatural world, number one, it scares me. Supernatural stuff is very scary, okay? I cannot handle watching Discovery Channel at night when they got those ghost shows on. That shit freaks me out. I'm not watching that, okay? I am not watching that. Now, I have had experiences 100% legit, and I'm going to tell this story right now. I was chilling in a jacuzzi with my friends in my backyard, and there was 3 of us. You know, jacuzzi's round. 3 of us were in it, so each one of us had a corner of the jacuzzi, and then there was an open corner where nobody was sitting. Okay, 3 of us, and you get the picture, right? So I was sitting in like kind of in the middle area. So I was looking at the area where there was no person seated. All right. And where this spot was had the backdrop of the side of my house and the side yard. And there's a door that swings open and goes to the side yard. Now, the way that the lighting is set up in the jacuzzi and in the backyard, it's real bright where you're sitting so you can like see what's going on, obviously. But the way it is at nighttime, it bleeds out into the side yard. So the light where you're at is a lot, but the side yard is pitch black dark. Like you can't see a thing. It's perfectly black. And the swinging door was open, so I could see the side yard. It's black. It's behind the house, on the side yard of the house, right? So I'm like, whatever. I'm zoned out of the conversation. And I'm staring at this area. For some reason, it was just freaking me out even before anything happened, all right? So I'm staring at the side yard. And then out of nowhere, a ball of light about the size of my fist appears above the ground, like this far above the ground. Ball of light about the size of a baseball, softball appears, expands into about a beach ball, like this big. Pure white light shows up, boom, expands and explodes and makes a fucking shotgun sound that was as loud as a shotgun. I mean, huge bang. Now, because I happened to be, it happened like this, like the speed of a snap. I wouldn't have seen it if I wasn't looking directly at the spot. My friends heard it, and they looked around like, what the hell was that? They heard the sound, but they didn't see the orb thing that I saw. I was freaked out, man. I was freaked out, and they didn't see it, so they weren't like as troubled by it. You know what I mean? And I just told them like, hey, I'm sorry, guys. It's time to get out of here. I'm getting out of this jacuzzi. And so I I was watching the house at the time. So like I had an opportunity to go back to where I was living, and I should have stayed at the house, but I was like, nah, I'm not staying here tonight. I'm out. So we went to the side yard and we checked it out. Absolutely nothing. There was nothing there. Nothing there. I figured maybe like a piece of the pool equipment exploded or some electrical discharge went off or like some wire came flying off the roof or something. Nothing. And somebody said, what time was that? It was like midnight. Yeah, it was about midnight. Nothing. Who's behind you? It's all freaking me out, man. Yeah, so I seen that. 100% with my own 2 eyes. That was, I remember exactly, I know exactly where it was in my backyard. Trust me. That legit happened. That was a while ago. It was probably like 3-4 years ago. So there you go. That's my paranormal story for you. So yeah, there's some supernatural shit out there. I don't know if we can explain it. I don't know if we can ever replicate it, but it happens. Yay for honey. Is it wild or from some specific type of flower? Wild. I didn't want any of that. Or I know that they had like the flower type. I saw those, but I didn't know what that is. So I just went with like the standard organic raw honey. I didn't want to make any bad decisions or incorrect choices, I should say. What's up, Common Sense Keto? So can honey be problematic because of the high fructose content? Yeah, I'm sure it can be. But what I'm doing is I'm like dosing it. So I'm not sitting there sipping on it all day long. I'm going to take it before I go to the gym, and I might take it like after dinner maybe. I'm not sure. So I'll probably have like a good swig of it before I head to the gym, and then I'll have a swig of it. Why does this thing keep focusing? It's annoying me. Come on, camera. Work with me here. I got to move this out of the way. I think it's catching the microphone and freaking out. Anyway. So who is Rob Stewart? Rob is a dude who went vegan a number of years back. I remember him making the decision to go vegan when I was making the decision to go vegan. And he struggled with it at the beginning. And I was like, this guy can't make his damn mind up. Like, veganism is obviously the way. I'm going vegan. It makes all the sense. He hasn't done the research that I've done. Like, whatever, forget this guy. And so I just like stopped following him for a number of years. And then basically right when I stopped being vegan, he stopped being vegan. We both started talking about the carnivore stuff at the same time. We kind of found it separately and then got onto the journey as well. And I'll verify the timeline and everything with him today as we get into our conversation. But yeah, so he's out there. He's basically like a skin coach for people. A lot of like rosacea and different eczema issues that he helps his clients with. He healed a lot of that stuff as a vegan, and he doesn't denounce the vegan diet for it. So I find that interesting. I want to ask him the differences between the two diets, if one is better or not for the skincare stuff. And then obviously he's also been, he's made quite a bit of gains, like physically speaking. He looks really healthy to me, and his digestive explanations are exactly my experience on the carnivore diet. So I just find our path very, very similar. Timelines have added up perfectly. The symptoms that we experience are very similar, except I don't have the skin issues that he's suffered with. So Kimmy says she was going to skip this one, but here she is again. Oh, you're not going anywhere. Sit down. Have a cup of coffee. All right. I'm scrolling right to the bottom. The camera's focusing on the ghost. Stop freaking me out, guys. Rob bulks on carnivore. Yeah. I want to ask him how he's pulling that off, because to me, that is amazing. I don't know how he's pulling that off. Little B said something about Taylor, Marcus, Rothkrantz, and OK Raw. What are you guys talking about with them? What's the situation with them? Common Sense Keto does 6 tablespoons of honey every morning before the gym. Damn. I was thinking more like 2 tablespoons. John David Patterson says, yesterday we were saying Frank is losing it, but now you're seeing UFOs? The end is near. Where's Jessica 6? Hey, man, that's what I've seen with my own two eyes. This ain't speculation. I don't talk from speculation unless I say so. That wasn't speculation. That was witnessed with my own two eyes. We can speculate on what it was all we want, but I'm just saying, it was a freaky situation. Gonna be withdrawals till the next live stream. I'm so sorry, Devox. 4 days in a row, though. I think my voice was starting to give out yesterday. We'll see how it goes today. Rob seems like a pretty talkative guy. I think he's gonna make it easy for me today. I'm chilling today. Cruise control. Drew, ever hear of peripheral insulin resistance? What is that? I used to think Rothkrantz is cool, but almost 10 years later. You guys hating on our vegan boy, Marcus Rothkrantz? What's wrong with him? I think Rob's got a really solid body composition, if that's who you're talking about, Kobayashi. Taylor says, Drew, what are your thoughts on the vegan zombie? The guy is apparently 23 years vegan. I saw him critiquing Raw Alignment's Carnivore video. I've said about his blood results before. They're not that impressive. He has a very high triglyceride to HDL ratio, which is known to be a risk factor for heart disease. If you've been a vegan for 23 years and you have a high risk for heart disease, I'm wondering what the hell you're doing wrong. I mean, he promotes and eats a lot of processed vegan food. He seems to be vegan 100% for the animals. Oh, and by the way, he says he exercises every single day. So if you're exercising every day, you're young still, you're a young, fit male, you're still in the range of healthy body weight, and you're working out every day, yet your triglyceride to HDL ratio is putting you at a high risk of heart disease. I'm not an expert on it. But to me, it seems like you should be having a little bit of a more impressive outcome if your diet is allegedly the best diet in the world. And when I say your diet, I'm talking about the plant-based vegan diet. He probably will admit that what he actually eats on a day-to-day basis is not the healthiest food in the world. But again, I don't know why you would go through all that trouble to be vegan if you weren't going to at least do it the healthy way. And healthy is subjective, of course, because I really don't believe there's that many healthy vegans out there that are thriving. I just haven't seen it with my own two eyes like I've seen them ghosts. Real Organic says, Drew, I checked on Frank's channel and found some really good information. Indeed, he is a knowledgeable guy. I agree. He is a knowledgeable guy. And when he makes a video about another person, he is nice at least. No, he's not. He's not nice about it. He's extremely inflammatory. He makes things up. So I wouldn't say that. I went to Frank's channel yesterday. Alley Cat.
That one's juicy, man.
Everyone please donate so Drew can afford grass-fed steak. Woo! Hallelujah. Thanks, Allie. I'll be putting that towards the organic honey at the very least, all right? So yeah, this will probably be my final words on Frank, guys. Like, I'm over the situation. Frank can do whatever the hell he wants. He's irrelevant to me, whatever. So he's made some stuff up. He said some things about friends that I have. He's made some stuff up about me. He's saying that I'm associated with these Cargill shows, all this BS. It's kind of like a funny troll thing, but honestly, troll jokes get boring to me. So we're moving on. I went to his channel yesterday when he went live, right after my live stream. I said, Frank, get me on the channel. Get me on the show right now. Let's talk about this. Let me defend myself. Let me basically make you look like an idiot, which he knew would happen if I got on the show with him. Didn't want to have the conversation. He said that, you're not willing to watch the videos of people plagiarizing my information and that you're associated with these people and you're having the worst of all of them, Paul Saladino, coming on your show soon. I was like, that's not my problem, dude. I've never met Paul Saladino in my life. I'm not associated with these people. I don't even talk to them anymore in some cases. And you don't know me. You don't know any of these people. You're an idiot. Like, you are an idiot, Frank. I'm openly saying this now. I said, you are worse than the people that you're claiming are plagiarizing you. All you do is make content with other people's videos in it. Like, half of his live stream, if not more of it, is watching other people's YouTube videos and then talking shit. You can't be shocked that people don't like you, number one. You can't be shocked you can't be crying about plagiarizing content if all you do is make shit-talking videos about other people. I said, let me get on the show and defend myself. Otherwise, you're a little rat punk. And he straight up said, no, anything you say is basically would be a lie. you're just going to come on here and gaslight me, and you're associated with these people. These are Cargill shills. You can't be trusted. I was like, okay, well, so be it, Frank. You didn't give me my opportunity. That's it. I'm done with you, dude. You're a little fake. You're a little rat. You're a little punk. You're worse than these people that you talk bad about. Didn't give me my shot? Then you're done. You're dead to me. People were in the chat too, like calling it out. Hey, Frank Drew's here. Let him talk. Let him talk. And then he blocks me. Like a little rat punk. That's what Frank is, dude. Little rat. Did you see the recent buzz about the croissant diet? A guy analyzed the diet of the French in the 1970s who were lean and had no obesity and think it's because of the saturated fat, unsaturated fat ratio. I haven't seen anything about that, the croissant diet. I don't know about that. I don't know about the recent buzz. Really Organic says, I haven't watched a ton of Frank's videos, but he doesn't seem to be coming from an angry or mean place when he talks about others. Maybe he is lying, but at least he's not aggressive. Hey, negativity comes in a lot of different forms. You can be passive aggressive. You could be sly, slick with your little sales pitches, whatever you're doing, whatever drama buzz you're trying to create. But hey, Devox says, we really tried to get him to own up to his lie about you. He just doesn't get it. Frank is always talking down on women's appearances, which I don't like, but I still watch him. Planetary Farm. See, I mean, hey, you're there, you're supporting him, you're in the chat. I see a lot of you guys in the chat there. So keep doing your thing. If you guys like being there and watching that content, then go for it. If you guys like my content, cool, go for it. I'm not going to tell you not to watch this shit. I'm saying he's a little punk rat for not letting me talk on his show and using the excuse that I would gaslight him. How can you be gaslit if you've got nothing to hide? What is there to expose? You can't. He knows he cannot defend himself in real time. His allegation, I would just make him look stupid. It's a complete joke to me. Tell us how you really feel. That's how I really feel. Common Sense Keto says Frank is just mad because he isn't famous. Ashley Noel, Drew, what's the deal with the Cargill shill situation accusations? Basically,
here we've got some.
Oh, here we go.
Cranberry juice. It's great for your penis or vagina.
Thank you, Ted. Thank you, Ted Carr. We got a little donation coming through from Peter Horvath, feeling way better post-veganism. I think this ex-vegan movement is an important step in helping people reconnect with the ancestral way of eating. I couldn't agree more. Ancestral way is cool. I don't promote that specifically, but I think it is a very valid thing to explore. And yeah, I think it's a better path than veganism for sure. I think vegans do well for the first couple of years. I think it's, for a lot of people, it's a positive step in the right direction for them. I think that there's a lot of knowledge to gain from being vegan for a while, and I think it's going to help people with some of their issues, especially weight loss, stuff like that, real simple stuff. But I don't think people should owe their life to veganism, you know what I mean? Annabelle D says, can't respect someone for not giving them a chance to defend themselves. 100%. Like, look, if you're a public figure, you're going to get criticism from people. Totally fair. Totally fair. I realize that not everybody likes me. I get negative comments in my comment section all the time. A lot of times I leave them up. And a lot of times I talk shit back to them. Hey, it's fair, right? You're going to talk shit to me, I'll talk shit to you. Cool. But look, if you're going to make up conspiracies about people, that's a whole different level. And look, Frank, this is my honest advice to you. I don't care about you personally. I don't care what you do. I don't care about your channel. I don't care about your content. I've been following you, by the way, since under 5,000 subscribers. So it's a big slap in the face, by the way. But anyway, you need to be careful, kid, because you are launching your own meat company. You're making up stuff about other meat companies. Look, these people got more cash than you. You already said it. The CEO of ButcherBox made $30 million over the last 2 years. These people are going to put you out, man. Like, they're going to take your little company out and they're going to sue your ass for defamation and stupid shit like that. You don't want to get involved in that. Just keep your mouth shut. You're making stuff up anyway, so you don't know what you're talking about. Trying to be like on the forefront a little too hard, buddy. Anyway, that's enough of Frank Tufano. I'm going to leave it like Sean Baker. Sean Baker did one response video to Frank after Frank was talking all his shit, and Sean Baker made one response video and he's like, I'm done with this guy. That's a wrap. That's it. That's me. That's it. That's all the airtime that kid's going to get. I'm done. He had his chance to have me on his channel, talk it out. Didn't want to do it. I'm over it now. Done. James says, I'm trying to get shredded, but eating whatever the fuck I want, counting calories and making sure I get enough protein. If this fails, I will then try the carnivore diet. Okay, sounds good. I'm going to probably be adding in carbs soon here, guys. I have a feeling I'm going to need to do it. I'm already on the honey. Welcome, everybody. Make sure you hit like on this little bad boy video and potentially subscribe if you're feeling inclined. We're going to have Rob Stewart here on a few minutes. Just send him the email. He'll probably be joining us in a second. Hey, Drew, great moves. Keep it up. We're proud of you. Appreciate it. Thank you, Joaquin. Keto mechanic. Frank is full of shit half the time, but I kind of like Frank at the same time. He's just a whiny little baby that needs to grow up. We all need to grow up. You know? Thanks for the sub and welcome to the Morg. I get it. Hey, welcome to the Morg gang, Peter. And for the donations. Big time. What's up, redheaded princess? What webcam are you using? This is the Logitech Brio 4K. It is the best webcam that you can buy that I know of before moving to like a professional webcam. Frank is going to be really pissed when you pass him in subscribers. Not my problem. Not my problem, man. He said yesterday, and this will be the, well, I don't know if it's the last thing I'll say, but I'm over the topic. You know, as soon as you guys stop commenting, then I'm going to stop commenting because I don't give a shit. But he said that he wouldn't have the amount of live viewers in his chat if he wasn't giving out such revolutionary, awesome, amazing information. He's like, I wouldn't have 550 people, 600 people in my chat right now if I wasn't giving out the truth. He doesn't even realize that half the people in the chat are gassing him up that are like vegans, basically, that are trying to prod him, to derail him. They're there to watch the train wreck. They're not even there because they love his show or his information. They love to see him potentially explode. It's like Vegan Gains. He has carnivores in there just chatting him up, making shit up, trying to get him to fly off the handles. They don't even get it. Anyway, we got our guest Rob Stewart here today, guys. I'm going to pull him on the show. Rob, can you see me? Can you hear me?
I can see you. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear, man. Let me pull you on real quick. All right, guys, Welcome, Rob Stewart.
What's up, guys? And Drew, thanks for having me on the show, man.
Yeah, this has been a long time coming, right? We kind of planned this like months and months ago. Then I quit, as I quit everything, including veganism. And then it was time. It was time to have you on. So I'm glad.
Yeah, we definitely flirted for a while with the concept, and boom, here we are. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, perfect. I hope you didn't get started with that little rant I was going on there at the end. So we're gonna clear the slate here, guys. It's Rob's time.
Awesome. All I heard was vegan gains.
Right. I was just saying, people like vegan gains, people with, and I'm not trying to, I don't want to drag you through this mud here, because I don't know your stance on the YouTube drama, but I saw you made a John Rose video. We'll get to that. But yeah, people like vegan gains, they have like a big live stream presence, but there's a lot of people in the chat that are not even part of their message necessarily. Like I get the odd troller too in my chat, right? Like maybe 5% of the people aren't with me. It's fairly agreeable to my audience or to what I have to say. But these guys have like a massive amount of trolls that are just infiltrating, that are like trying to get them on subjects that will derail them and make them look like idiots. They don't even see that that's happening, and they go on these tangents. It's crazy.
It's a whole different game that they're playing. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's a game of it's like who can create the homegrown grass level propaganda and enjoy it the most and have the thickest skin. That's just a whole. I don't get that world. I try to stay away from the drama. I like building communities and being inspired and experimenting and following someone who's doing some wild ass stuff and being like, oh, where's this going to go? And then seeing them have growth and then being like, maybe I should try that. Maybe I should experiment. Maybe I should research. And that's generally what I do on YouTube is like, I'm always trying to stay in the good energy and the good vibes, because as you probably know, you get a lot of hate, you get a lot of bad energy thrown at you. And so it's kind of, there's like a filtration system and kind of a decompression from being on YouTube, where if I'm enjoying YouTube, the last thing I'm going to watch is some Yahoo, talking crap about another Yahoo, which I don't even know either person.
Yeah. Wow. We're the same person. I have the exact same feeling about it. I also approach YouTube research the same way. I love to see what other people are doing and their journeys that they're sharing, especially those that appear to be really authentic and are doing it for the sharing of that like process, basically.
Yeah.
John Rose is a good example. I caught onto his message early on. I said, hey, if what he's doing is legit and real, I want a piece of it. I want to try it. I'm not going in blind. I'm not starting at day one and telling people, hey, this is the way to be. I'm going to try it myself and see what is good and what is bad about that process. And what I can tell from your content, and I just watched a bit of your carnivore video, your review, you said that carnivore wasn't all rainbows and sunshine. There was some things that you didn't like about it, and we'll get more into that stuff too. And I think that we have a very similar approach to finding these sort of like fad diets or fad avenues. You can call it whatever you want, but the fact is there are people out there getting results that you want, and they're doing things a different way than the status quo in society. And I'm more interested in that than I am interested in like going to my primary care doctor that my insurance provides and him telling me, hey, eat a balanced diet. And he's like 30 pounds overweight himself. You know what I mean?
Oh, 100%.
I'd rather, yeah.
Yeah. I was just going to add to that real quick. You said, I'm not going to follow basically the Western medical approach, right? And a lot of people, this is what I hear from ex-vegans, or this is what I hear from people who say everything I do is anecdotal. I say, it is anecdotal. I'm sharing my experience, my process. And the reason I have no desire to talk about, debate, or go into the research world that much is because when I lived in that world, when I was paying $85,000 in 5 years to have people cure my skin who were doctors and specialists, I was more sick than I've ever been in my entire life. Plus, I actually was in a place where I was fully believed that they were in a place where they wanted to actually help me. All they were trying to do was, with their science and their microscopes, just try to figure out my problem and give me the right pill. And it's a much bigger issue. And I only started getting relief. I only started to see the light, if you will, when I left that completely behind and said, you know what? I have to rely upon myself and myself only. I have to rely upon my own research, my own experimentation, and I have to make up my own decisions. And everything that I've been taught and learned has a possibility of being total BS.
Yeah, straight up, man. And even, yeah, that's perfect. Like, I've been really sick. Before I went vegan, let's just back up a little bit here. And I kind of want to also curtail back into like how I found you originally and stuff like that. So we're still kind of in the intro here, people.
Yeah, we're intro.
Rob just got me fired up. Basically, like, I had mononucleosis. It's called, the kissing disease. You're sick for a whole month. About 6 months before I went vegan. So I finally felt in my life, it was that moment where I was like, all right, I can't keep partying. I can't keep doing the 20s thing, getting drunk every weekend. My immune system is weak. My digestion sucks. I'm kind of a little bit softer than I'd like to be, fat-wise. And I got to do something here. And veganism came my way, and it found me. You know what I mean? And I realized that, yeah, you can take an antibiotic that will help you cure your strep throat in a couple of days, which is sure helpful, but it might also do a lot of other damage to you along the way. And you don't even know what is happening there. And this isn't just a problem with the Western medicine system. It is also a problem with a lot of these dietary and lifestyle approaches that people take. These can lead you into deficiencies and issues as well. And we have to be very careful. All around, we have to be careful. Just like watch your back, basically, because yeah, veganism, for instance, may help you in the short term. I say it all the time. Veganism is better than the standard American diet for a short period of time. Like, in the long term, standard American diet, in my opinion, is going to give you better results than a vegan diet long term, like 20 years, 30 years. But standard American diet can absolutely give you a heart attack 50 years down the road, 60 years down the road. So we have to understand that there's like very cumulative long-term periods of what we're doing. And yeah, so I don't know if you have anything to add to that, but I want to get into how I found you originally.
No, yeah. I mean, the only thing I would add to that is my entry to veganism was for the same purposes. Where I was at and the research that I had done and the books that I had read and the people who I was influenced by, it was at that point, a very clear path. Okay, where I'm at and where I want to be, the first giant leap will be really focusing on an ultra hard to do diet and lifestyle, which for me, the behavior of learning it kind of was more of the healing agent than the actual food, which I think we can get into later. But I just wanted to kind of reflect, same as you, I was sick, really sick, and Western medicine did me harm. So the next best thing at that time, what I knew, the vegan, high carb, low fat, whole food approach.
Got it. Yeah. Cause so when I found you, I think we went vegan around the same time because I was doing my research. You had a small channel at the time and you were like, I don't know, you were like in the snow or something like that. Where were you living at that time? You had like a mountain house or something, like a cabin.
Yeah, that was the really early beginning days for me. I was living up in Mount Shasta and I had kind of created a little like healing sanctuary for myself up there. And finally, as my kind of routines and protocols started to take shape and really heal me, I was having other people, friends. I was a yoga therapist at that time. So I was doing little yoga retreats, having little men's seminars. We were doing ayahuasca, peyote, sweat lodges, just really going balls deep, if you will, into the healing on all levels. And that was kind of like when I started those videos where I'm like in the snow. That's that period of time.
Cool. So I kind of lost contact with your channel and then you like reemerged an even bigger channel and even bigger personality years later. And I had to even wonder, is this the same guy? Like, I didn't even know if you just did your own thing. It was crazy. Cause I think I was probably in Hawaii at the time and I wasn't really following vegan YouTube for a while cause it was working for me. I was chilling with the vegans in Hawaii, doing my thing in real life, experiencing it firsthand. And I just kind of fell out of vegan YouTube. Like I had vegan YouTubers around me. I didn't need to go to YouTube for it. They were there in person, you know, it was kind of cool.
Yeah.
So,
for sure.
So you did, I found you like back then you were, correct me if I'm wrong, but you were basically into the vegan idea, but you couldn't fully commit to it for a while. And this is where I started to like, I didn't understand why you were struggling so hard with this. Cause I made the decision basically overnight and I was in and I was like, is this guy, I liked your content, but I was like, is this guy going to get on board or is he not? You know, shit or get off the pot type of thing. And you were like up and down. And I was like, I can't vibe with anybody that's just not sinking their teeth into veganism right now. And then that's when I think I just fell off the bandwagon with you.
Yeah.
But then you did go vegan fully. And I didn't even know that. I never knew you went fully vegan until years later. So like, can you walk us through your results as a new vegan? What made you finally stop doing the back and forth with it?
Yeah. So on the peripheral, I think that the reason why you probably saw me as kind of vegan, kind of not, was because my process during maybe the first 2 years was absolutely not wanting to associate with the vegan crowd. I was like, and I don't mean to be explicit. This is going to sound rude and I'm just going to catch flack for it, but I'm being 100% honest. I was like, the last people I want to be like is Dan McDonald and Durian Ryder. Like, no, thank you. Like they for me were big triggers and I didn't want to be associated with that crowd. I too was living in Mount Shasta, living in Oakland, living in San Francisco around the yoga, the ecstatic dance, the 5 rhythms, the vegan community. And it was lovely. But for me, the vegan YouTube community was scary as hell. So what you were seeing in my early days was a very conservative effort to stay neutral, if you will, very Canada. And I was using terms like plant-based and high carb, low fat. And as I solidified my own approach and as I became deeper into the vegan movement, that's when I think I solidified myself as someone in the vegan movement. And the hashtags changed and the titles of the videos changed. It became more clear. And I also have to be, again, totally transparent. As my results got solidified, I think around year 2.5, 3 is where I peaked out on it. I was totally gung ho. You know what I mean? I was in it, really deep in it, admittedly.
Mm-hmm. And something I like that you said in your carnivore video is you said, hey, a lot of these foods did help me cure the skin issues that I originally was trying to attack from day one going vegan. And then a lot of those foods were now triggering my digestive system, which you didn't like that. And that's understandable. Like, hey, this helped me at one point, and now I'm doing this carnivore thing, feeling overall great, but I incorporate these foods that helped me a few years ago, and now I can't even eat them anymore. So what do you think that is?
You know, I think that's kind of the old term, a person comes into your life for a season, a reason, or a lifetime. Well, I believe food and my healing path is the same way. Veganism came into my life to teach me discipline. It did cleanse and detox me. No, you can debate those words till the cows come home. But the fact of the matter is I started my journey at about 180 pounds. I stopped my vegan journey at about 140 pounds. I was in deep autophagy. I was in a catabolic nature. I was cleanse focused for a long time. I showed all the signs of detoxification and cleansing, including the positive signs. For me, as it started to be over cleansed, you know what I mean? There was a time when the cleansing needed to stop. And at that point, my issue was I was married to it. I was married to the belief. I was emotionally invested. And
what were the physical, like, what was your phisical status at that time? Did you lose a bunch of weight, or like, where were you at with your body?
So right in that point, that was kind of like what I call my like confusing year and a half, where I was like, wait, am I feeling bad or am I not? Because I would still kind of gotten off this few-year high of going from death's door, feeling disease like a leper, to feeling like this light, abundant, smaller, person. And that felt really good. But then that just started to feel a little different. I would go through periods where I would bulk, and as a different person eating animal foods, when I would bulk, I would put on tremendous, a lot of muscle. I can put on muscle pretty quick. As a vegan, I just would totally up my calories, and I didn't feel like I gained any muscle, just body fat. And then when I would shred down, I would be right at the same place I was. So I spun my wheels for like 8 years. My strength in the stamina workouts did increase every year. And then around year 4, plateaued. My body weight dropped every year. And here's the thing that sucked. I'm pretty smart about lifting weights and working out. I'm an ex-Division I college athlete. I love it. I nerd out on it. I know what I'm doing. During those 8 years, I didn't gain any strength in my major lifts except pull-ups. My bench press, my overhead press, my deadlift, and my squat basically stayed the same, despite putting in tremendous amount of hours in the weight room. My hormones, my teeth, so many things were falling apart. And it became pretty obvious. And the foods that were healing me, lots of fruit, lots of potatoes and starches, and then a pretty decent amount of grains. I found some that worked good for me at the time. That started creating constant diarrhea, started creating weird gas that before was the vegan gas, where I'd fart and be like, haha, it was loud and it smells good. I'm so like clean, to like being like, that doesn't smell right, and it was just all of these biomarkers, all of these little signs stacking up. And that year and a half of confusion ended bad. I was in a bad place.
Yeah, it's, oh man, that is the closest story that I've heard to mine, to be honest with you. Like the timelines, the way it panned out, the spinning of the wheels. I had the same exact experience in my last final year of veganism. I finally put the Rubik's Cube together to figure out how to gain weight finally. And I was excited about it because I was like, oh, the scale's going up. Thank God. Because I was light. I was still only 143 pounds at 5 feet 10. I have been as big as 183 at my size, like on meat and stuff like that, pre-veganism. So I know how to gain weight. I know how to put on muscle mass in a general sense. I've never been a bodybuilder, but I know how to get some results. And as a vegan, I was like trying to figure this out for so long. And finally, I figured out how to gain the weight. For me, that was soy milk and peanut butter added to the other abundance of calories that I ate. I got my calories up to like 3,500. I was bloated all day long. I felt terrible. I woke up bloated. Dinner was like, my belly was just like this mound. You know, I'd go to bed just feeling like I had a baby in there. And I hated it. I was right back to pre-veganism days, like the way that I felt, maybe even worse. And yeah, all I did was gain fat. I got super soft. It was like this gelatin fat on my belly, around my body. The strength wasn't going up. And I proved it. I did carnivore for 40 days. I tested my pull-ups as the main lift. I said, can I gain on pull-ups? So I did my exact same routine, didn't change a damn thing. I ended up losing some, maybe how many pounds was it? 6 or 8 pounds in about 40 days. But most of that was obviously water weight. Mm-hmm. So maybe a couple pounds of fat, some water weight. My pull-ups went up by 4 reps from 10 to 14. Now people say, okay, well, you lost weight. Yeah, but I put a backpack with 10 pounds back on my back to make myself my original weight. I still gained 2 reps there, 2 max reps. So the strength objectively went up in such a short period of time. I lost a lot of the extra fatty, weird bulk very quickly. And, it's almost so good on carnivore that it's hard to bulk for me. And I do definitely want to get into that subject with you because you've managed to do it. And yeah. So yeah, our paths are very similar. Our experiences, symptoms are very similar. And I find it interesting that so many vegans end up failing. It's the freaking digestion every goddamn time. It comes to you in one way or another. You're either going to get diarrhea, you're going to get bloating, you're going to get some sort of gas. The nutrients are just not getting into your body anymore. You've destroyed the intestinal linings or whatever it is. We don't know. I wish we had the microscopes on everybody that failed veganism with the digestive excuse so that we could start putting together those pieces. But damn, don't you think that this is too common to ignore?
I mean, I work with a huge population of people per year who are ultra focused and like dedicated to one thing and one thing only, healing their skin, which is like a major, major thing to try to do. And, those people come to me and they don't care whether it's vegan or whether it's carnivore or whether it's eat donkey ass. If it works, they're going to do it. And the proof is always in the pudding. So for me, working with the population in my vegan years, I saw kind of generally the same thing. People having some big results, especially in inflammatory markers, especially in weight loss markers, but that would then have a bell curve that would swoop down drastically once it kind of leveled off. Then fast forward to people coming back to me years later who I worked with in my early days saying, hey, we did good on the vegan thing. I kind of have a similar story to yours where it worked, but now I'm plateauing and now my skin health is going backwards. What's next? We go carnivore, we go animal product, keto focused, and across the board, results happen pretty fast. For me, similar to you, I went carnivore and I would say at least 45 to 50 days in, most of my major issues that I was experiencing in terms of my teeth, in terms of my hormones and my strength, were pretty much kind of like obviously already summed up. And when things for me are that obvious, and one thing people say is they throw around the word anecdotal all the time. And call me the anecdotal king because it's my life and my evidence and my data. And I'm not going to let anyone or any influence tell me what my next move is, because every time I do that, I end up blaming others. I end up scapegoating other people. I don't take responsibility. I don't learn. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use all of my anecdotal evidence to make my next decision. And right now where I'm at is that my health, my skin, my strength, and that of my clients and the population I work with, because of this approach, is drastically different and drastically better.
Yeah, so like the vegan thing, you experienced a step in the right direction. Sometimes it was murky. Sometimes it was good on some people, not so good on other people, but like, not worse. Mm-hmm. And then now it's the obvious difference. Like this really works because it's boom, it's overnight. And, of course, maybe a couple of weeks, but some people are probably experiencing skin issues for how many years? Their entire life.
Yeah. Some people I work with, it's from birth. Other people like me, it was like, I had allergies and like weird skin things, sensitivities as a kid. And it just progressively got really bad and crescendoed in my early mid 20s. Some people are really lucky. They come to me and been like, hey, I got, a little eczema on my finger about a month ago. I'm freaking out. And it's the same path to recovery for everyone. And I think really the main thing to highlight for anyone who is kind of going to go a dietary route to kind of have a health intervention is, I think the reason why a carnivore style works so well is it's the ultimate elimination diet. And it's super easy to refine from. You start with beef and salt and maybe some good fat source for most people. You rock that until some change is needed. And then you can slowly add foods in and your body will give you an obvious sign like, nope, or okay, that can work. And just doing that can actually revolutionize someone's healing process, because anyone who's gone vegan, anyone who's done any type of high carb, low fat, raw veganism, high fat, any of the vegan approaches are the most challenging to refine on the planet, because every single meal you have has the possibility of having the worst anti-nutrient trigger foods on the planet in every dish. So how do you figure that out? Like it's way more hard. It's way challenging.
Totally agree. And going back to like the bodybuilding aspect of veganism, which, previously it's pretty simple. Like you want more protein, you can get protein with no fat and no carbs associated with it. Cool. You want more fat, you could do that too on a omnivore diet. But as a vegan, you're always forced to take in like I tell people, lentils are 77% carbohydrate. Like vegans are like, just eat more protein. It's like, okay, well, to eat more protein, your best protein source is lentils, right? Lentils are great. But you're eating a shitload of carbohydrate with it. And you're actually not getting that much protein. Like if you wanted to get 45 grams of protein from a bowl of lentils, you're going to have to eat, an entire cup or a cup and a quarter, I can't remember nowadays, of lentils to get that amount of protein. Well, it's also coming with a ton of carbohydrates with it. And maybe that is part of your plan, or maybe it's not. So it's hard to isolate these things as a plant-based eater to get the results that you want. Maybe you don't digest the lentils well. I certainly do not.
I'm Joe Rogan.
Oh, hang on. We got a super chat flying through.
You're Joe Rogan. I'm Joe Rogan.
You can't see the super chats, but it's on
We're
the screen.
all Joe Rogan, dude.
Jason Joseph, thank you for your 10. You said, I want to hear about his teeth issues during veganism and then after. We will definitely get to that. And we might as well go right now because I forgot what the rest I was going to say. But yeah, so teeth issues during veganism. Afterwards, you want to get into that right now?
Yeah, sure. So I did post a video on this like maybe a week ago, but I mean, it's really straightforward story. 8 years into my veganism, actually like 6.5, my teeth were falling apart nonstop. I couldn't keep up with my tooth decay, and I was having, high-end hygiene. And the high-end hygiene, the really focused mouth hygiene, led to, in the last year and a half, I was literally, I have a niece who's a dental hygienist. So I had to hook up with a dentist. Most people are like, oh, you must be filthy rich if you can do this. And I'm like, I had to hook up. But I was going to the dentist about every 9 days because I was freaking out. I had to get a root canal. I had a tooth pulled. I had a bunch of cavities filled. I was brushing my teeth constantly. I was flossing after every meal. I mean, it got really bad. And no matter what I did, my tooth decay would not stop. I was eating a starchy, carbohydrate-based diet, and I didn't have any ability to remineralize my body in any way, shape, or form. All I was eating was catabolic foods that were, at best, micronutrients. There was no thick macros. And I'm a total, crazy person. And I know science doesn't believe this, but I don't believe from a vegan diet you get macros. You only get micros, in my opinion, generally speaking. But I didn't have any source of bone building, teeth building nutrients in my diet. So it wasn't a thing about keeping them clean. They were dying from the inside out because of my nutrients. And that's why they were able to bounce back so quickly. I read Weston Price. I looked at a lot of his literature. I looked at a lot of other people, and I just upped my cholesterol like crazy. And obviously I was doing lots of eggs, lots of beef, lots of salt, and lots of goat butter at the end. And my teeth remineralized. I mean, they're a whole different mouth. And I stopped going to the dentist once I went carnivore. Was facing several cavities, possible root canal. I'm sitting, with a vegan missing tooth still, but everything else is far more white and a lot stronger and no sensitivity, no nothing. And I feel really good.
Nice. I had a similar experience, and to the bone density situation, first of all, I want to make a comment on the teeth specifically. Is I'm still back and forth on whether or not it's an internal vitamin deficiency type of thing, why most vegans' teeth go bad, or if it's like a sugar acid issue. I'm still unclear on it. I don't know, but it's one or the other, and it doesn't matter. It's like the end result is messed up teeth, or both. Yeah, and I never had teeth issues before. I had great white, strong teeth. I had no like enamel erosion around my gum line. I had one tooth, and we're talking about my formative years, man. Like I never flossed. I was partying my ass off. I was falling asleep on people's couches, drinking vodka sodas all night. And like acid carbonated drinks. I had no issues. And then all of a sudden I go vegan, and within a year I have to go get 4 fillings. And I was shocked. I was like, I rolled in there thinking I was like, yeah, like, what's up, Dennis? Like, check my teeth out. I'm a vegan. I'm fucking Superman. Nope. 4 cavities, guy. And I'm like, no way. Yeah. And yeah, I still got the composites in there. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. It pisses me off. Yeah. So in the bone density situation, I rolled my ankle really badly when I went to Hawaii on a trip 2 years into my vegan deal. And it was a very minor misstep. Like it was something that, and I had been a cyclist putting in 100 miles a week for like a year and a half before going on this trip. You'd think that my ankles and my calves and everything should just be like strong as shit, like a TIE fighter, and dude, the thing just crumbled. I just took one misstep off a thing, and I ripped all the ligaments out of there. My whole ankle was swollen and sore, purple, and it never healed correctly either. So like everything I feel like has gotten a little bit weaker. The bones in my wrists, I still haven't recovered the same like forearm size as I had before going vegan. I'm just overall lighter person, and I don't know how much of that really came from bone density and stuff like that. I'm still working my weight back up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. It took me the weight gain part of it didn't happen fast. It was slow and steady, and then all of a sudden, around the year mark, I started tinkering with my diet just a little bit, and was able to just throw on a ton of weight, about 31 pounds in a month, which again, anyone from our generation who grew up reading Muscle and Fitness or then reading blogs, 31 pounds in a year, you're lying, you're a steroid user. And you can just look at the video, look at the thumbnail. I mean, as a vegan, I worked out a lot, and I was into cardio, and I was super active, and I was very, very lean, and I was malnourished. And then fast forward, my carnivore routine was barely doing cardio except hiking gently, and then doing really, really heavy bodybuilding stuff for, about a year straight. And my body just ate up the fat and ate up the protein. And kind of segueing back to the lentil thing, lentils on paper for bodybuilding can be awesome. Well, that's if you have an ability to even digest them in the first place. There's a huge population, pretty much anyone that has an immune issue of some sort, that might not be able to even take any, developmental protein from something like a bean or a legume. And one of the things about Game Changers that I find hilarious is that kind of the premise of that movie, in my opinion, is to push vegan protein powders. It's kind of like the underground hidden message. Their propaganda is vegan protein is better than animal proteins, and animal proteins will kill you fast. Like that's their generic propaganda that works really good. What I found unequivocally, just obviously, with my weight, with my strength, with every client I've ever worked with, and I was a Division I athlete. I have a lot of friends who are Division I strength and conditioning coaches. Do any of them allow veganism on their college athletes? No, they don't allow it. It's not a religious or PC thing. It's no, and your scholarship's on the line. Period. For me, the gains have been absolutely ridiculous. I started off 10 to 15 reps doing 5 sets of pull-ups. I bang out 20 rep sets, 5 to 6 sets all the time. My bench press was I didn't really bench press much as a vegan because my shoulder had surgery and I was still recovering. Now I bench like, a teenager with a barbell. Sets with 225 is no problem.
Nice.
Every lift has gotten huge for me as a human. I'm not a super buff person, but for me, it's been fun. For my clients, it's also been obvious. So the legumes thing, the vegan bodybuilding thing, are there outliers? Yeah. There's people that can eat whatever the hell they want, smoke weed, do lines of blow, take Adderall, and they stay super huge and buff. There's a bunch of them in the NFL. There's a bunch of them in the UFC. You see them all over the place. They're like those quintessential Greek god mesomorphs that are lean. Those people don't count for research purposes. The rest of us mortals and the rest of us normal humans don't get those types of results anyway. So, looking at the entire staff of the Game Changers movie, if those people were vegan or non-vegan or whatever, they were still going to be buff, huge people.
Yeah, that's something that I struggle with. And almost every guest that is familiar with fitness and bodybuilding and stuff, I love to bring up those examples, those outliers like a John Venus, or like, let's say, maybe not vegan gains lately, because he's not looking that great. He's still strong, but I mean, hey, he's over 200 pounds. He's 6'2". He probably should be pretty strong. You know what I mean? He's been working out for 10 years straight. Like, if you're not strong at that point, then you've done something very, very wrong, even if you are a vegan. Yeah. Plus, we know all these people are on the plant-based protein powders. The Vivo Life digestive enzyme situation is a whole other topic we can get into, because I believe that is a big part of why these guys are able to even digest this food in the first place. And we know that vegan protein powders double or triple up on the leucine, specifically the amino acid, which is most responsible for muscle protein synthesis. Meat generally has a high value of the leucine, but in vegan food, even in like lentils is a quite high leucine compared to other vegan foods, but it's not as high as the vegan protein powders. That's how these guys are getting the leucine. That's how these guys are getting the digestive enzymes, the ability to even digest this stuff. And of course, vegans will just turn to you and say, well, don't you care about the animals enough to just eat vegan protein powder then? Problem solved. It's like, no, it's more than that. If I need vegan protein powder to make any kind of gains, isn't that a little bit of a tip off that something else is going on here?
100%. And that question is, don't you care about animals enough to just eat vegan protein powders? And the answer is yes, I care about animals enough to not eat vegan powder. I care about human animals first. I care about my human being animal above most other things besides like my family and higher power. Like I'm up there on my own food chain. For sure. And my importance, my survival, my abundance is up there. So I know personally, especially as someone who's a skin expert and who has a huge responsibility to a crowd of people who rely on me for the right information, is you've never once ever heard me promote vegan protein powders, even as a vegan. There's a reason for that. They're a triple isolated synthetic form of a once whole food for skin health, for gut health. That just doesn't work. You might be able to eat enough protein powder from the vegan world to gain some muscle, but first and foremost, is it going to allow you to have healthy, clear skin? Will you have really nice gut health? How's your hormones and your energy and your brain going to be? And those are all very questionable to me. So that's why even as a totally devout vegan, I was anti-vegan protein powder 100%.
I was anti-vegan protein powder till the bitter end, like the last year and a few months, because I was like, screw this. I'm going to try it to see. And then again, you get one of those false positives. You do get a little bit of gains and you're like, okay, like we're back on track here. It's like whack-a-mole, the vegan diet. You fix one thing, now you got the bad gut health. And it's like, shit, I'm capped out at 143 pounds, 5'10" tall, and I can't gain anything anymore. Oh, let's throw some peanut butter in. Guess what? You get a little fatter and you start getting the horrible gut. So yeah, dude, you just fix one problem, you have another. And I did want to mention too, the mesomorph, the lean, these guys who are going to have this physique no matter what they do. Tim Sheaf is my vegan example back in the day. Like Tim Sheaf, the guy looks incredible no matter what. I mean, before he even went vegan, when he was like 18 years old, all he was doing was free running and he looked like a bodybuilder pretty much. I mean, he was
like a running back.
Yeah, he looked like a running back. You've seen that picture where he's just like jacked at the
heavily, thickly muscled and lean.
Yeah, and lean. And also when I saw him as a as a vegan doing fruitarianism, because that's when I met him in Hawaii, was almost at his lowest point. It was right before he did his water fast when the whole world turned on him. Guy was like the same weight I was, but he just looked like a miniature version of his bodybuilder self. He didn't look sick or weak. He just looked like a smaller Tim Sheaf. And then, you know, bam, he gets back on the meat and swells back up to the healthy, fit-looking Tim Sheaf. And if he wanted to go hit the gym, guess what? He'd be the freaking jacked monster bodybuilder Tim Sheaf. You know, it's just like a different version of himself. So people need to understand that genetics come heavily into play with this stuff.
Yeah, and they also, genetics are great. And for people like Tim Sheaf and people like some of my teammates in college who were literally, you know, eating cheeseburgers every single meal and were 6% body fat and 220 at 5'11", you know, and strong and fast and explosive. It does catch up to you though, for sure. We talked in the intro about, you know, what's going to happen 10, 20, 30 years down the line. Well, if you're someone, especially as a mesomorph, if you're, you know, utilizing your muscle and strength, but you're eating like crap or you're malnourishing yourself, you're going to end up in the same spot. You're going to be either diseased from malnourishment or diseased from overnourishment. And it's like one of those things where, I don't know if you've played with this, but because we have such a similar story, I think we're about the similar size.
No, I don't think we are. We're not the same size.
I think I photograph slightly bigger than I am. I mean, I walk around at maybe 185 right now. And this is big for me. You know, this is like me.
How tall are you?
5'10", 5'11".
Okay. Yeah. I'm 5'10". I weigh 146 in the morning right now.
Okay. So you're a little bit leaner naturally.
Oh yeah.
But I don't put myself in like a Tim Sheaf category. You know what I mean? Like, I think that if I'm you know, an endomorph, or is it ecto?
Ecto. Like if you were to stop working out, you would probably shrink down a bit and just kind of go back to a regular looking person, right?
If I were to continue eating the healthy diet I'm eating now and just stop working out and just like, you know, mow the lawn and just be a normal human, I would weigh maybe 155, 160.
Gotcha. Yeah. That's what I used to walk around. Well, actually, pre-veganism, I worked out like pretty consistently, but again, I had a shit diet. You know, I was walking around at 168 at the time. That was like my standard size. If I wanted to go higher than that, it would have been kind of tough. And going lower than that was kind of hard to do as well. So yeah, I bet, you know, 160 to 165, I could easily have managed that before. But again, I was not careful about my diet at all. I drank a lot and stuff like that. So, you know, now it's like, dude, I'm on carnivore. I'm drinking milk with every meal. I've got my calories over 3,000 per day. No weight gain. I can't even pick up a pound, man. It's like, it's such a struggle. It's crazy.
Let me ask you this, because this is something I love talking about, because everyone who I meet who's into these two topics, veganism, carnivore plus fitness, the calorie thing is, you know, it's just when you're eating all whole foods.
And here comes the real steak. You know, but just look at the texture of this thing.
Your body. This is a biomarker response. I'm full. Stop eating. I don't need to be fatter. You know, it doesn't really want to do that. But
yeah.
Do you find it easier to get the calories on a carnivore diet compared to when you were vegan?
So a typical day I'll give you is like 4 eggs in the morning, breakfast. I was doing intermittent fasting for the first whole year since I switched back over from veganism. So I was doing IF. I thought that was just like better for health. I figured I would still be able to gain weight while doing intermittent fasting, because I was like, all right, I'm on meat now. Like there's going to be all this muscle protein synthesis. I'm probably just going to swell right up. That didn't happen. So I then added breakfast in begrudgingly. So let's say 4 eggs. For lunch, I'll have like a pound of steak. And then for dinner, lately I've been having a pound of steak also. So I'll do 2 cups of milk with each of those lunch and dinner meals. That's roughly about 3,000 calories. Sometimes I'll eat a little less than that though. And to get that amount of calories, I feel very satiated, like overly satiated almost. I'm not stuffing, but I'm full. Like I feel very satisfied all day long. And it's enjoyable. But what I'm leaning towards lately is just accepting the fact that I'm probably gonna have to cut the meat down a little bit, and then maybe add in like a clean carb source, maybe a sweet potato instead, and maybe a rice, like a little side of rice instead, and maybe even get the insulin to bump up a little bit more so that I can put those gains on. And just kind of get back to like my normal size. I feel like, because I get a lot of people that are like, Drew, you look great right now. Like, don't worry about it. I hear the other people, body dysmorphic. No, it's not about any of that, guys. It's about optimizing your approach to feeling as strong as you can feel. I like to feel stronger than I like to feel weaker. There's some people out there that are just like okay with being completely emaciated, string bean thin, but that's not what I'm going for. I don't want to be that. I don't want that.
Right. It's your deal. You're the one that has to sleep in your body. If you want to be a little more jacked, then hell yeah, go for it. Do it. If you want to be lean and you want to be whatever, it's just know what you want and be true to yourself. I think for me, just to kind of go back to the calorie thing, and what you're saying was super true for me. My early mistakes with the carnivore diet was just overdoing the protein. I really couldn't find the fat sources. And I came from such a strict ability to eat clean constantly with like a machine. So I was just basically eating beef and salt. And it did me good. But the refinement...
Gut-wise, you loved it, right? Because I saw you. I heard.
It was just like, there was no bloating. There was no nothing. It was like, it was just constant flat stomach and like I went from pooping 10 times a day to pooping once, maybe twice. But once I kind of cut down on the meat consumption and super focused on the fat, and then on top of that, added a few carbs from some dairy sources that I knew worked really well for me from experimenting, and a tiny bit of plant foods that I knew worked well for me, a little bit of honey, and got my carbs up around 100 per day. It was like, that's a different hormonal thing altogether. And I think that if you have your carbs and they're super clean around 100, and then you're kind of unlimited on your protein and fat, obviously way more fat, it's hard not to put on weight with that, because it's kind of giving you everything you need. Now, for most people, you got to be really kind of gentle with the carbohydrates, because it could lead to some dysbiosis if you do it too hard. But what I found, 100 grams per day for someone my size has worked really marvelously. I mean, like noticeably good.
Okay, so I want to come back around to this, because this is super, super interesting to me. We did get a little super chat here from Horatio. Thanks again, Horatio, for the $2. He says somatotypes are real, as a question, which is, the mesomorph, endomorph, ectomorph. Obviously, I think that there's something to that. I don't think that there's just one body type. You see these people, they're basically, I mean, come on, meet Tim Sheaf. Guy's got abs when he's like in a water fast, and he looks emaciated, but he looks like he could still, go bench press, no problem.
Yeah, I think there's for sure archetypes. Now, does everyone fit perfectly into one right in the middle? And does each archetype tell you exactly everything about your... No, of course not. It's like astrology. Like, yeah, some of it fits you and some of it doesn't. And it's like, but yeah, there is groups of people, for instance, even within a family, I have different body styles in my family. I tend to be the thickest and strongest. I have a very kind of smaller Scandinavian family. We're robust and muscular, but we're not tall and we're not heavy. I'm at 5'10" and a half, like one of the biggest males in my family. We don't have weight issues. We're all, like farmers and movers, and we have lean bodies. So, and on the other hand, I have friends who have different genetic background and have parents who are just thick and strong and have giant hands and giant wrists and giant calves from birth. And what those people are and what I am is not the same, period. And I don't really think there's any... I don't know if he's hinting towards science or political correctness, but I would say on both fronts, yeah, there's definite archetypes for human body types for sure.
Totally agree, man. Like, there's just... To say that there's not archetypes is to basically say that there's no differences in between us. It's like, I got buddies that don't go to the gym at all. They're maybe a little bit taller than me, but maybe I'm 5'10", they're 6'1". It's like not a massive difference, but like the size of their wrists, the size of the thickness of their knuckles, their hands, that they're built differently. They're going to be able to hold a different amount of muscle mass. The ligaments are entirely different. I might have to work for the next year to be benching sets of 185 pounds on the bench press. And guess what? They can come off the bench, literally never working out, and go hit the bench and hit 185.
Yeah.
You know, and we might even eat the same things and they're still stronger. There's just massive differences in people. And unless you've pushed your body to that limit and done it side by side with somebody else, when you're doing the same routine, you're essentially eating the same foods, you'll see that one is going to progress faster than the other one. It might be you, it might be them, but you're going to get different results doing the same stuff. And people don't understand that.
Yeah, totally. I mean, there's even correlative studies done where people are intaking the same amount of calories and protein, and one's gaining and one's not. Just straight up research. So it's super interesting. But I also think, to bring into the conversation, the other aspect, which I think is way more important, is both how you feel about your aesthetics, because people either want to gain or lose because it's some aesthetic desire. And what is the role between the vegan diet, gut health, and the hormonal approach? Because for me, I don't think I was able to start really reshaping my body because of the calories and the protein and the fats. I think it was because my hormones changed so drastically that, my androgen receptors, they showed up to the party finally, and I looked super different. As a vegan, people were always saying, "Hey, dude, are you like a rock climber? Are you a dancer or a yogi?" And I was like, "Oh, and I lift weights." Yeah, I do that stuff, but no, I lift, and literally 40 or 30 days into carnivore diet, traps, delts, upper pecs, the bottom of my lats were like getting these weird meat hooks, the top of my butt, my hamstrings, all of these things that had been missing for 8 years showed right back up. And now they're like kind of parts of my body that are totally filled out like they hadn't been in a long time.
Yeah, I would consider your physique now, and you may disagree, but like the physique you're representing now is for sure like end goals physique for a lot of people. Like the way that you're showing up now is easily for a lot of people, like they're happy with that in 5 years of working out. You know what I mean? And for you, it showed up very quickly because you probably had a very good base to start with your training back in the day, your collegiate days.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you got it back, but they're out there trying to earn that for the first time, and they're thinking that they're going to do this on a healthy vegan diet, and it's simply never going to work out for them. See, I never got to that point, so I wasn't, I'm not on meat now, and it's popping back up out of nowhere. Like I am as strong now as I ever was as a meat eater, but I'm a lot lighter, which tells me that the hormones are doing their thing. However, in terms of the actual mass gain, the size gain, I do need to implement something else. It's either a ton more fat calories, which could potentially be uncomfortable for me, and I don't want to go that route.
Exactly.
So do you think that lowering because right now I'm eating about 250 grams of protein a day without even trying. Yeah. So is that something that I would want to lower then, and then find a fat source to bump up the calories on the other end? Or do I want to go the honey, white rice, potato route? Like, what do you think?
I would feel into kind of what naturally you gravitate towards first. For me, eating that much protein for me just kind of got a little boring, where if I would, like, instead of eating 3 steaks, only eat 1.5, but also eat half a stick of butter or a stick of butter, that was super easy for me. Take a bite of steak with salt and a huge piece of butter on it. That was delicious. And then all of a sudden I'm done eating. I'm not super full, and I just ate 1,000 calories. Like, bam, that was easy compared to salt and ground beef, a bowl of that, just working your way through that. 1,000 calories of ground beef and salt is a hard task for anybody, but you start adding that huge amounts of butter, and it was a game changer for me. So I rolled with that first, and that worked really well. And then I said, okay, well, if I even want to notch this up a little bit, plus I want to experiment with where can I bring my carbohydrate intake and still be golden with gut health. And I found that it notched out about 80 to 100 grams of carbs, improved performance, rounded out my physique, brought me from—
You get that swollen look a bit, a little water retention.
Just something that's like a little just more filled out. And I don't want to use this term in a negative way, but a little more masculine. Like, I don't have the lower abs like I did at one point, but I'm still lean. It's just blocky and strong. And that's fun for me. I like that. In a year, that might drastically change. I might, start windsurfing and want to weigh 120 pounds or something. I don't know. Right. But, so first I went high fat and kind of rolled with that. And then that felt good. And then started experimenting, bringing in the carbs in. And I'm still in that place of like bringing them back to 0, pumping them up to 100, bringing them back to 0, depending on what I want. Cause I'm at the end of my bulk thing. I'm sitting at 185. I don't like to push further than this. So I'm kind of sitting now ready for what is my next experiment type of thing.
I would imagine that now that you're back on the meat, the hormones are popping, that you're going to now be the guy who struggles. You're now the guy who gets jacked and then wants to become a triathlete, and he can't lose his muscle mass, and he's whining about how the guy, the 140 pound guy is able to go all day because he's not carrying any weight around, and his knees are busted up. But it's funny. It's always like a grass is greener thing, because when I was vegan and I was like this lightweight cyclist struggling to put on any muscle mass, I had all these guys who were like big thick guys in the the cycle shop that were like, oh, they're like looking at me like I would, like, how'd you do it type of thing. And I'm just like, God, like, you guys have no idea how hard I'm trying to work to get bigger. It's like you with the, are you a rock climber? It's like, nah, dude, I'm trying to get bigger. Like, screw you. Like, basically telling you that you do not lift, and it's sad. But going back to that 100 carbs magic number, that is something that I've noticed. And, with my, let's say 40 grams a day of sugar, carbs, and then let's say 60 grams a day from like, I'm pretty flexible. I'll eat like a hamburger bun with my burgers or whatever, right? So that gets me about to 100. And I do notice that there is a marked difference in the fullness of the physique. You do get a bit more like pump, I guess. And I don't want to say that like pure carnivore doesn't give you a pump, because I do believe if you're eating enough salt, you can maintain a good pump in the gym. But it's more about how you look when you're not in the gym.
Right.
Like, I feel like when you do have a decent amount of carbs in there, like let's say 100 or, around there, your digestion is still good, but you do have a bit of a more full look, like even going before you go to bed, like you haven't worked out in a while, you haven't worked out that day, but you still carrying around like almost like an after pump, And I'm sure people are going to be reading this like narcissism, all this stuff, but guys, it has to do with the performance of your body. Like, do you want to be on an upward trajectory of strength and physical fitness, or are you okay with where you're at? Do whatever you want. I'm not telling you that everybody should do this, but it's something that is a indicator, a marker that you're moving in the right direction. When you are in the gym consistently and you're working out, you want to see the scale moving up. Like, you want to see a few pounds a month at least. Now, you gained 31. I would love that. I would love to snap my fingers in for that to happen, but I'm also willing to be patient and see what happens and do it a healthy way. And I know you did it a healthy way too, but damn, like that's incredible results. I think that should be talked about more.
Yeah, I think there's kind of two things that led to that. One was I was as lean as I possibly could be. And then I was as lean as I could possibly be, plus protein and hormones. Then I was as lean as I could possibly be with protein and a ton of fat and some carbs. And it was just, it was like I was cutting for a show for 10 years. And then I had my after show, month-long eat party, and I just blew up. And that's exactly what happened. The hormones, the calories, and the program all hit at the same time. And just to kind of like go back a little bit, like, how dare you talk crap about my narcissism or our narcissism? We have a narcissistic method in our brain for a reason, because as our physical appearance looks beautiful to our own human eyes, the more healthy and have a stronger ability to procreate we have. It's a natural thing. If you're someone who is constantly getting on people about being narcissistic, or you think that any narcissistic views are completely unhealthy, then I'd be willing to bet you hate yourself.
Narcissists do love themselves. That's for damn sure. And I think there's a healthy balance there for sure. And anybody who's being a hater right now, go take a look at Rob's Instagram. His girlfriend is hot. His girlfriend is super hot.
She's beautiful. Yep.
Yeah. So dude, I'm with it. I'm with the program, buddy. Like I'm on the same page here, and I agree. And I want to be able to attract the best mate I can. Why not? Like I enjoy that too. So, yeah. Anyway, so where should we take this from here? We talked a lot about the geeky sort of like macro stuff, and I love that stuff, and I'm experimenting with it on a daily basis. And where I'm moving now is I bought honey last night, and I want to keep it carnivore, and I've never eaten honey in my life, really. I've taste tested it.
Right there on the counter.
Nice.
Raw
Perfect.
honey. Good shit. Good stuff.
I would love to get like the top quality stuff. I just bought like the raw organic level, nothing crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But Yeah, so I'm going to eat that before I go to the gym, see what happens, maybe take a nice swig of it out of the bottle, see if I could start getting some more gains. I just want to see consistent weight going up on the scale. It doesn't have to be drastic. If I see half a pound a week consistently that doesn't disappear because I took a big dump and I took a big pee and it's gone, and I'm like, where the hell did it go?
Right.
That's what I need to see. I need to see some very positive upward movement, because this past year, I wouldn't say I've been spinning my wheels, but my strength has been going up reasonably paced, but the weight and the size is absolutely not there. And the physique hasn't changed much at all. Mm-hmm. So that's the other thing too. The composition is the same. The weight is the same. And yeah, I feel like I should have a lot more results.
You could be kind of spinning your wheels, and this might be a little played out, but I think I experienced this, that glucogenesis is real. So it's like you're teetering on that place of like, your body wants to get into keto and wants to be fat adapted, but it's intaking so much protein that it's not actually fully there. So it's like in these two different worlds at the same time, and you're never fully experiencing what it's like to be fat adapted fully and burning fat, and then the protein's just being used, or you haven't fully put your carbs in the right place so that your body's not trying to use the protein for the energy source. So it's like, it is, I think, a matter of, for most people, slightly lowering the protein and then either picking one or both, up the fats and up the carbs to a reasonable place. There are those weird people, and I just got to be honest, some people can do a plant-based thing with good amount of protein and with a good amount of fat and have some massive gains, massive. It's old school bodybuilding type foods.
Yeah, there's so much that goes into even just the macro stuff, even before you get into the amino acid profiles and all this stuff. But even with the macros, like I was learning from, I think it was Paul Saladino the other day, he was talking about the thermic effect of food, and that the fact that, your conversion rate is already burning 30% of your protein calories off right off the top because of the conversion into glycogen, I believe. So the calories you think you're getting from the protein is not even adding up to the same amount of calories you would be getting from fat, which is more of a pure energy source. So if you're talking, you were to perfectly split your macros for the day, 50% fat, 50% protein, and then you were to do in 70% fat, 30% protein, but 3,000 calories for both, you're actually getting way more net calories after the conversions with the higher fat ratio, because again, there's no conversion. There's no 30% thermic effect of the food. And I have my buddy in the chat, Common Sense Keto, I can't forget. He donated a Canadian $5. He says, Drew, you need to eat more frequent meals to get adequate muscle protein synthesis. That is the first thing you need to do. I did not forget about your super chat. I'm sorry. We're talking about some crazy technical stuff right now, and it's very hard to do this job, guys. Please. So I wanted to say, because I really hate losing my train of thought. So when we get technical, it's like we just got to finish the conversation. So again, I did not forget you. Thank you so much for your $5 donation, by the way. I wanted to talk about that. I wanted to add that in after we got to where we were. We're not going to leave this conversation, guys. So the next level too, that is another avenue, is playing not only with the macros, which we've covered pretty well at this point, but the meal frequency. And I've talked to Jonathan Irizarry about this, IFBB pro level bodybuilder guy that's a buddy of mine, and I'm like, hey, do you think that this matters? Like, and I've done some research as well on YouTube recently regarding this. There's a lot of Omar Esop's got great videos on it with Eric Helms. They get into the nutty science with it, and they're saying there's really no proof that it helps. But again, we got the science and we got the results and the practicality. Like, what do you think about that? Because I like the idea of lowering my meal size. Like, I don't always want to eat a pound of meat. Sometimes I want to eat half a pound of meat and a big plot of rice. And it's easier.
I think this correlates and reflects the same argument of what's better for digestion. One meal a day, one giant big ass meal a day, or just kind of grazing, eating as you need to, stopping before you're too full, kind of like a Japanese methodology. So like the two schools of thought. And I see that reflected in this question, big time. And my opinion is that it really comes down, like everything else, and this is so new agey, is it's ultra personalized. What is your goal, and what tool will make it easiest for you as an individual to make that goal happen? For me personally, if I'm trying to bulk or if I'm trying to put on serious muscle, I can't eat a big enough meal per day or enough food in a 4-hour time period or a 2-hour time period to eat 3,500 calories is what it takes for me to gain. Now you start me off at 6:30 in the morning, having a few eggs, and then at night, 9 o'clock, having some yogurt, and then so on and so forth throughout the day. Depending on the day, I can stack 4,000 calories that way easy. So for me personally, if I'm trying to gain, I'm going to go with several meals per day. I know that works. I have the data myself. Several of my clients are very similar. But then the overriding fact, again, for me and my population is always, how do we keep the gut perfect throughout the whole process? And again, it's personal. Some people just cannot do a giant meal, period. And so intermittent fasting is stupid for them. And there's other people that can slam one giant meal per day, and it's so calorically rich and so perfectly combined, and they just have the stomach space and the digestibility to do so, that it works marvelous for them. I'm not one of those people. They're out there.
Cole Robinson, snake diet guy, can do it.
Exactly.
He can eat enough calories from 3 pounds of raw liver and enjoy the meal once a day. Like that is freak levels of OMAD. I can't pull that off.
Neither can I at all. And this does go back slightly to the meso, endo, ecto thing. If you're a meso, if you're someone who naturally is thickly muscled and can carry weight, 1 meal a day might be pretty easy for you. My past as an athlete and being in kind of a personal trainer and kinesiology guy for 20 something years, most of the athletes that I've worked with, most of the people trying to put on weight with weightlifting, it just is easier to eat smaller meals more times throughout the day, as far as getting it done for most people.
Totally agree with that. Anytime I was able to put on appreciable mass, pre-veganism, of course, was absolutely through the use of 5 meals a day. Start off in the morning, try and get that first meal in as soon as you wake up, if you can, even if you're not that hungry, but at least you get that, at least you're ahead of the schedule for the day. You eat your eggs or whatever. Sure enough, a few hours later, you'll be hungry again, and you eat that meal. And if you're somebody who doesn't just love stuffing their face, which I am not in that camp, I don't love eating. I don't love eating like some people love eating. To me, it's kind of like, it's okay. Like, yeah, I like food, but I'm not excited about going to a restaurant next weekend because it's got this dish that I want to try out there. Like my taste buds don't tintillate like that. I don't care.
Exactly.
That's probably why you were able to stick to a super strict diet and do the meat, salt, water, because it's like, this is the nutrition. My body feels good afterwards. That means more to me.
Yeah, I'm one of those guys that if I could drink coffee and just have coffee all day and not eat, that would be my preference of fuel. That'd be great. But I can't really have coffee. And for me, I experimented a big time for a long 10 years of intermittent fasting, dry fasting, water fasting. I know my body really, really well, and I know what it really likes. And I know what my mind likes. What my mind likes is to skip breakfast and to say, fuck that, and to give me some green tea or to give me a coffee and let me start with my day, and then let my stomach do that thing where it's not hungry and then just keep pushing off eating until I have to. Well, that doesn't work that great for me when I do that. What actually works, what from analyzation and kind of common sense has shown me, is that when I just eat a little in the morning, a couple hours later, I feel way better than caffeine will let me feel. And markedly, my tolerance and desire for food the rest of the day is huge. If I just eat a little in the morning, I'm starving all day. And for me, that kind of tells me a lot about myself, is that food and eating turns on my desire to eat. And when I fast and when I go into that mode, the same thing happens. My body says, okay, I don't want to eat. And so when you eat, it's just kind of, and so from that standpoint, again, putting on weight with more meals seems, again, like a good way to do it.
Yeah, I might just have to go that route. I would like to keep it carnivore just for experiment's sake. I'm going to try out every avenue of carnivore that I can before I jump onto the white rice potatoes thing. I'm willing to do the honey. I think that's smart before workouts, maybe. And yeah, maybe just spread out my meals a little bit more, like 4 or 5 meals a day. Now, from the perspective of insulin and fat gain,
Yeah.
Then you start to get into that avenue. Now you're spiking insulin all day long. Obviously that's going to be anabolic, but how are we talking about long-term health? Is that something that you're worried about with that kind of approach, or like, is it not that big of a deal?
I think it's a huge deal, but then again, I also think that if you look at the data and the research on it, it's just like everything in the nutrition world. It's all over the place. You look at the Okinawans, they don't really stuff themselves or eat a ton of calories, but those guys also eat breakfast. They don't intermittent fast. They're not starving themselves. They don't have a religious ceremony each year where they're fasting. They're just eating. You know what I mean? Eating kind of continuously. I'd put them in the 4 or 5 meals per day category. Now you have other groups of humans that you can look at that just don't do that. That eat, maybe something like your Seventh Day Adventist, who do go through spiritual practices where they eat lighter, and then at night they're kind of having a focused dinner. You could put them closer into like the 1 meal a day or intermittent fasting category. And you see great results from both communities. You know what I mean? And I think that, what are your genetics? What is your physical makeup? Also, like, there's a whole nother aspect of this. What's your community? What's your stress levels? What's your mindset? If you have your diet dialed in perfectly for your hormonal structure and for your genetics and for your everything, but you're like a miserable person and you have no love and no community and no creativeness, and you're just, well, diet's not going to produce anything.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's just mainly about what you're eating is going to be a lot more important than any other the little auxiliary variable you play with. Like, okay,
Right.
So you're eating the right foods, but you're eating 5 times a day. That's not the same as spiking the insulin all day long from like sugar-based meals. And again, like kind of comparing it to veganism, because I did 3 meals a day as a vegan. And I try to do larger meals like breakfast, lunch, dinner. But the way that, like, for instance, my lunch smoothie took me 2 hours to drink that thing to begin with. So like, that's probably a very extended insulin situation, because I'm literally just triggering it with every sip. So it's totally different. And again, going back to like the 1 meal a day thing, that was kind of a fantasy idea in my mind that let's test this out. Let's see how this works. I like the idea of it. But in practice, eating that pound of steak, or not OMAD, like, let's just talk about 2 meals a day. I would eat a pound for lunch with some milk, and then like a pound for dinner with some milk. And if I did rice at the time, I was able to maintain my weight. But if I didn't do rice, I was basically always sliding down the scale. And yes, I was satisfied all day long. And it's cool to eat 1 meal and just forget about food for 8 hours straight. But from a practical standpoint of, putting on muscle mass, you just need to deal with what you have. Like, I'm going to be able to eat more food in a given day over the course of 5 meals, even if those meals are smaller, because just the way that it works. Like you say, you cut out caffeine. That's a appetite suppressant.
Yeah,
so
that's a huge one. That's actually super huge for sure.
Cut out caffeine as much as you can. Eat your first meal as soon as you can. Make it small. And then you just go through the day and just keep stacking those meals up. Now you're at 3,500 calories before you sleep. You never stuffed yourself once. And caffeine, probably, to be honest with you, you'd be ideally better off without it. Now, I love it too. I'm a big fan of caffeine. It's enjoyable to me, especially because I don't drink, I don't do anything else extracurricular in that aspect. So for me, it's like my one vice that I have left,
Yeah.
And I enjoy that mental stimulation that it gives me beyond the normal, So it's tough for me to let that go, but I can see that at least splitting my meals up into smaller and then also incorporating like the honey and stuff like that could potentially probably get me the goals that I want. And we'll see. Hopefully I blow up and do 30 pounds in a month. That'd be great.
Gosh, I mean, I that would be awesome. For most people, if you can do 2 pounds, 1.5 pounds every month for a year, you're going to look really different, really different, especially if it's, just pure muscle and then there's no extra fat thrown on there as well.
Yeah. When I was 18, my first 3 months ever working out, ever stepping foot in the gym, my buddy had decent results. He took me, we went 5 days a week consistently for 3 months. I was doing meal replacements, 5 meals a day, eating chicken and rice, and just basically doing sort of a dirtier version of, the bulking diet, but still relatively clean. I stacked on 30 pounds in 3 months. and it was not fat. It was like, I had the pictures before and after. I went from like skeletal skinny basically to like reasonably muscular. And at that point, I weighed more than I do right now. So to me, I'm still getting back to like that. You know what I mean? And it's kind of shocking to me. And this will be a nice segue here. I want to talk to you about the Noon Almond Raw experiment that you did.
Yeah.
And what the hell is going on there? Because you see that guy doing that, and you're what is going on there? How is this man able to do this? Do you think he's not being truthful about what he's eating, or he's on steroids, or what the hell is going on there?
Here's my opinion, or here's what I think. I think that if he was someone who was to eat, let's say the way that I did or you did, or standard American even, he would probably be giant. I mean, I'm not trying to get this conversation based around mesomorphs and all this, but he's like the king mesomorph. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like someone who basically has been water fasting for his entire life and still has like 20-inch arms. Like that's genetically a gifted person.
Right.
Could I speculate on what I think he is actually doing? I don't know. I mean, if you are in a place, if you're doing I did exactly what he said he's doing. I did the protocol, and meditatively, energetically, it can do some pretty cool stuff. And especially if you're someone who naturally can fall into that psychedelic woo-woo type of energy, it can be kind of fun because it's really meditative based, it's energetic based. And that aspect is pretty cool. But I just can't get on board at all with anyone eating 1,200, 1,300 calories a day of those foods with that type of meal planning and meal timing, with his workout and his morning glucose cardio. And I mean, I did what he did. And I mean, I was noticeably flat, and, I only did it for, I think 31 or 90 days. I don't remember, but I didn't really change dramatically, except just got mushy and got slightly depressed, and my hormones sucked and I got weak as hell.
Yeah, I had Evan Rock on Friday, and he did the Almond Raw protocol for like the final 6 months of his vegan journey. And I'm sure people will be like, it's because he did it's like, guys, Evan Rock was vegan for 10 years before he did this. And he looked relatively fit and healthy and strong, still on the leaner side, like most vegans are. Didn't have like that, jacked muscular look. But yeah, he did the Noon Almond Raw thing, and he definitely lost size. I mean, he got very skinny. It was a topic of conversation within the community there. Like the girls were kind of worried about him. I don't like the way Evan's looking. He's kind of losing, he's starting to sink in, and he really, really was. And he was doing the protocol, and he had his basket of supplements that he was conjuring up, the whole elixir thing that Noon Almond Raw talks about. And
yeah,
it's a very strange community that he's cultivated, the Almond Raw guy, because I've seen some of the videos. There's one guy out there that is getting results that I've seen. And the way he presents his information is very, very religious-like. And he talks exactly the way that Almond Raw does, which I find very bizarre. I mean, the way that he talks, let's all agree, is pretty freaking weird. And why does he need to talk like that? I've never met anybody that talks like that in my life. That doesn't, what is that? He doesn't talk like a human.
The person who he sounds like, right away, I was like, gosh, this guy sounds like Andres Moritz, just so malnourished. And you're like talking slow so that your mind can think slowly and get the thoughts out. It's just like it's just this ultra slow, and you can kind of meditate into picking your words. And like, man, as I'm saying the word choose, I'm already thinking 500 sentences. I don't know. I don't think that I don't know, man. To me, it just seems like such a interesting thing, and it seems like I would love to have 100 people in a controlled setting do his exact approach, and I think that and make them do it for 6 months, and you would, in my opinion, what you'd see with every single person, except maybe 1% or 2%, like a normal study. Every single person would decrease in strength, body weight, mental acuity, and hormones. I would put money on it.
I 100% agree with that. I think that exact same thing would happen. I think that there would be excuses made from the sidelines, though. And they would say, well, they didn't do it long enough, so therefore their body didn't have enough time to do the proper detoxing first and then do the proper absorbing afterwards, which you and I both know after 4 years in my case and 8 or 10 years of veganism in your case, that the digestion doesn't get better as a vegan. It only kind of gets worse.
Right.
And that's, I've seen a couple people popping out in the chat saying, let's talk about candida, let's talk about gut health. And let's go there, because I know that does tie in a lot to the skin stuff, right?
Yeah, 100%. You know, with candida, I think a lot of these things are the pathology for people is backwards slightly. They're like, oh, I have dermatitis, or I have eczema, or I have psoriasis. And I saw a video on YouTube of a dermatologist saying that the root problem of skin disease is candida. And so they go on this crusade to take every herb and every medication and research how to get rid of candida. And they go after it, and nothing budges or nothing changes. Now, from the get-go, we have a major problem, because candida isn't the root issue of skin disease. Candida is another symptom of the same root issue, which is your filtration system and your small and large intestine and your gut, basically your digestional health. So once you get to the place where you start to address the real root issue of your symptoms in the first place, and not another byproduct or not another just symptom, the candida becomes like a total joke. Like, the first person I heard strangely talking about candida as being like, not even are you serious, is Doug Graham. He was like, like, candida is in our bodies for a reason. When your body becomes out of balance, the candida shows up to try to bring it back into balance. And we need candida. You don't want to destroy your candida. You just want a balanced gut biome, which will lead you to having a balanced amount of candida in your body. He's the first person I heard say it that straightforward. And my work with human beings has shown me that there's 2 different methods to getting rid of candida. One of them works drastically better, but they both work. And the candida issue is something that when you address your gut health firmly enough, it happens pretty easily. It happens pretty straightforward. Now, like any intervention, the 2 methods to get rid of candida is you either strip out the fat and really focus on a catabolic approach, or you strip out the sugar 100% and you focus on a fat burning approach. Now, through a lot of experience, the latter is better. The fat approach is way better. But for some people who are going to be vegan or who are going to do a vegan cleanse, you know, you can do some good damage stripping away candida with sugar. I know it sounds crazy because it's not a sugar issue. It's a sugar fat issue. Candida comes from the cell that's trying to get the, you know, nutrient into its membrane to utilize. When it is just sugar, it just boom right through the cell membrane, slippery like soap in a prison. But when you have too much fat, it connects and binds with the carbohydrates, and they literally get stuck in the cell wall. And that's the message for the candida to come. So if the nutrients never get stuck in the cell wall, then the candida issue kind of gets solved pretty quickly.
Yeah, I've got a couple follow-ups to that. Now, is a lot of people have followed my whole channel because I've talked about white tongue before.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that? Like how, you know, because I still have situations like, let's say I have a bunch of milk and then I brush my teeth, I brush my tongue. I try and get it as clean as possible. There may still be some white follicles in the back there on the back of my tongue that are persistent. And the only time I ever saw them almost go away entirely was about 3 weeks into 100% carnivore. Now, is that a symptom of candida, or like what is going on there?
Yeah, so that's a good question. And I think that reading the body's symptoms can be ultra confusing. You know, for me, if I drink almond milk, I get a little coating on my tongue. And if I stop for 2 days, it's completely gone. My gut biome isn't completely switching over in 2 days just by eliminating almond milk. It's literally the coating of almond milk that gets on my tongue. It's porous. It's like if you've ever painted something like AstroTurf and try to clean that up. It's not happening. You can't get down. It's porous. So if something goes away, you take away the milk and your tongue clears up noticeably in a few days, then it's the milk. It doesn't have anything to do with your gut. But if no matter what, there's a persistent coating of gross, scrapable especially first thing in the morning, funky, new cheesecloth looking stuff. Okay, that's a major, major issue. And yeah, if that's showing up, it's a definite sign that it could be candida, but it also could be a billion other levels of dysbiosis in your gut or your esophagus. There's lots of things that can produce a nasty tongue. Too much caffeine can turn your tongue a grayish black color really easily. You remove the caffeine, it doesn't do that. That has nothing to do with gut bacteria.
Right. I'd say in my case, it's like the actual hair follicles are white. It looks like it's really. It looks like it could be innocent, but it also like there's nothing to scrape off. It's the follicles, like the actual villi on the tongue and the back are kind of white. And yeah, I'd love a freaking straight, juicy pink tongue. That would feel great to just have that constantly. I don't know if it would make a difference in my body and the digestion, but
but conversely, not to interrupt, but I just want to forget when my tongue has been the pinkest is when my diet consists of mostly meat and salt with a really good fat source and no carbohydrates of any kind and type of milky milks, just some butter and like tea with maybe honey or tea with just water.
So you can even do it with honey.
Yeah, honey works for me a little bit with tea, to add that. I do a lot of times green tea with a little butter and a little honey in the morning. And that's like my carb source right there. And
sounds nice.
I can easily get with a normal bag of green tea, 350 calories that way, which is like a little breakfast. So it's like these little tricks for me have helped a million times with all the calories.
Yeah, I like that. Now, what are you eating on a daily basis nowadays? Like what's your mash?
Yeah, so kind of it's pretty straightforward right now. I do that butter tea a lot in the morning. And then for breakfast, I usually do a lot of eggs. I'm a big fan of eggs. Every day I'm doing a few raw, and I do up to about 8 eggs per day. I like them poached. My girlfriend makes mean ass poached eggs. I mean, like the runny yolks and then the really well done outsides. I add a little vinegar, just a tiny bit, and a lot of Celtic sea salt, which is, this stuff right here, and some butter. And I can bang out with 5 eggs, butter, and the rest of the stuff in there, like 700-800 calories from that.
Wow.
Then my next meal is usually a little smaller. I'll do, I've been on a goat yogurt kick. So I'll do an unlimited amount of goat yogurt right now, which usually ends up being about 2 cups. 2 cups. Sometimes I put a little stevia in it. Other times I don't. And then at dinner time, I'm generally that's my big meat meal. I love salmon. I love beef. And I also love soups, brothy soups with a tiny bit of maybe celery in it. And that's basically every day. So I have my tea, I have my eggs, I have my goat yogurt, and then I have my meat meal. And it's pretty steady like that. I haven't been messing around with intermittent fasting or dry fasting or water fasting for quite some time. And my body weight is very steady. It's not changing at all. I'm probably 184 on heavy days, on light days, and maybe 187 on heavy days. So it's just in that nice little fluctuation. And it's not hard with that type of meal plan.
So you're able to get in, how many calories are we anticipating there? Like 3,000?
3,500. Yeah. And
nice.
Kind of for me, the way that I either bang my calories out or I knock them down is how much butter I'm having in a day. If I don't have my butter tea, and if I don't load up with butter each meal, which I didn't mention that, I do eat just raw butter with every meal, like up to half a stick sometimes.
Wow.
So
okay.
Yeah, so that gets my aminos and my fat percentages really up there, and makes it also easy to get the calories. If I want,
you're giving me some ideas.
Yeah, we got to be sneaky, man. I'm telling you, I although I'm at a place where I'm like, okay, I'm heavy and I feel good. Most of my life, I've been in the exact same boat you are, where it's like, I got to figure out some sneaky way to sneak extra calories into everything. This has been the easiest way for me by far.
Cool. Yeah, I'm going to do that because that fits right into the carnivore thing. Like I do believe in my heart of hearts through the experience that I've had with veganism, the experience that I've had with doing the carnivore thing, like the digestion effects, like how amazing digestion is. Like that thing you said, you're like, you eat and there's nothing there. Like I love that feeling. And I don't know if regular people out there in the regular world can go eat Taco Bell and have that feeling, but I've never had that feeling in my life. And it is amazing to finally feel what good digestion is. You guys don't understand how good you have it if you've never had gut issues. Like even as a kid, I remember eating, the meat with the rice and potatoes on the side, and I would be cramped over after dinner, and I thought it was the meat's fault, and I used to not want to eat the meat as a kid because I thought that was giving me the stomach issue. So my whole life I thought that the meat and the veggies together, it was the meat's problem. No, it was actually the freaking plant's problem that was giving me the issue, because obviously I went vegan. I still had gut and bloating issues, but not quite as bad as before. So I thought I was on the right path, like how can I tweak it to make it work? But man, the butter with each meal, are you doing salted? Are you doing unsalted? Because I can go easily by.
I salt up everything.
Cool.
For me, it's about like my previous life was a sauce addict, and my favorite sauce is anything that was like sriracha plus sweet and sour, which for my dosha or for my genetics or just for who I am, those are the worst things possible for me, is super sweet, sour, spicy taste. My body craves butter salt, that flavor. I smell butter salt, my literal hormones turn on, my mouth waters. I put butter and salt on everything. And I tell you, I enjoy my food so much. At the end of the day, I'm not like getting any strange cravings. I'm not really like searching at this point for tricks anymore to get my calories. It's just like, okay, I want to put on some size, or I was a little low on energy yesterday. I'm going to get a little extra butter in.
Wow. You're happy. You've made it. You're at the top.
Yeah. I guess I've arrived. This is what being a human feels like. And it is a thing where and just to kind of reflect why it's so cool when you eat something, does your digestion feel like nothing happened? Why is that even cool? Like, yeah, you ate, you're going to have some digestion. Who cares? No, it's called low-level depression. Anxiety starts in the gut. Depression starts in the gut. And if your gut feels that way, you are not going to be feeling optimized as a person. You're not going to make great choices or be articulate or be creative or be sexy or be fun. You're just going to be kind of like anxious. And when your gut has nothing going on, you're kind of like, all right, what do I feel like doing?
Yes. Thank the Lord. Rob.
Amen.
Yeah. That's exactly what's up. Like, even if it's low level, even if it's 10, 20%, even if there's a little bit of focus on your gut, it takes you off of whatever else you got to do, man. If there's some pressure in your gut, like a little bit of, pinchingness or pressurize, I say it feels like somebody put a bike pump up your ass and they filled it with air. Like, that's how it can feel sometimes if you have a really, a meal that doesn't agree with you. People don't understand what I mean when I say bloating, and that's what I mean. And there's other people out there who have those same symptoms and they get it,
Ask any woman how sexy she feels when she has diarrhea.
That's
There's your answer. There's your answer. Boom. Later.
And you mentioned the sauces, because that is a secret killer, I think, for a lot of people that are blaming all kinds of wrong, whether you're vegan or whether you're on the meat side. Actually, the spices that get into those sauces, man, those can really F your gut up. Like, I noticed a difference going from Lowry seasoning, which I thought was innocent as hell. It's got paprika. It's got like some, celery powder in it. I took that out. Salt on the meat only, which I thought would be boring. It actually tastes amazing if you put a good brown on the outside of the steak. I eat all my steaks with salt now. It cut down the digestion even that much more. Now I'm at the point where if I just eat steak with salt and just water, it is like literally nothing in there. And I love that. I love that.
And not to mention the day after effect, when you can sit down, like my normal life as a vegan was alarm bells were going off at 4 a.m. and I was getting to the latrine as fast as I just said latrine. I think I just sound like a 60-year-old war veteran. Jesus. Anyway, I get to the bathroom super early in the morning and it's not comfortable. And then basically from 4:35 until 10 or 11, I'm taking trips to the bathroom constantly. As a carnivore, it became wake up in the morning, 5:36, my normal time. Like, wait a second. Do I even have to poop? This is weird. I better go sit on the toilet. Go sit on the toilet. A couple little rabbit turds come out. I wipe once. That's all I need. And like, that's it. I'm good to go. And that feeling at first tripped me out, but now it's like the best. It's just like, man, it's so much better.
It's the best. Like, it's funny. Maybe you can, sympathize with this, but as a vegan, I remember pretty much every time you leave the house, the first thing that you think about is, do I need to shit right now? Because if I have to go, you know what happened. Like, you basically need to go now. There's no holding it. You need to go. So you shit before you leave, no matter what. And you got to worry about what food you're taking and how you're going to transport it. You know what I mean? Like you're taking freaking jars of smoothie. You got to put it in a lunch pail, and like the water's getting everywhere. It's a fucking pain in the ass.
It's a full-time job, pooping and preparing food. And I think that's one advantage that you do have with, cutting down your meal frequency is the minimalistic lifestyle, which I really enjoy, lends itself to, okay, at night I just pop a couple steaks on the grill, add some salt, eat some butter, and done for the day. Bing, bang, boom, back to life.
So nice.
That's so nice. My days as a vegan and I like to get out and have adventures and go on, 100-mile bike rides and do crazy stuff. And it was always like, damn, I have to plan the adventure, and then I have to plan long-term my food. And then I'm going to have to leave my friends and coordinate a Whole Foods market in the general vicinity so I can get some fresh beans and lentils and, some local strawberries. Cause the hell no, I'm not eating any frozen shit. It was not fun. I would go days, and I was like one of those hardcore people. It's like, okay, well, there's no food available. Looks like I'm water fasting, and stubborn. And it sucked. It wasn't enlightening. It wasn't fun at all. It sucked.
It's funny when you finally come to the realization that that this isn't going to work out anymore. And then how we feel about it, it's so silly, but to somebody who's, a fresh vegan right now, or maybe like a vegan idol, like Vegan Gains, he's going to hear what you just said. And he's like, these guys are just fucking lazy. They're not with it. They just couldn't figure out the system. It's like, man, most vegans I know, they don't know another vegan in real life. They don't have any community. They don't get out in the world. They don't do anything. They're at home, and maybe they're a YouTube personality or whatever. But it's like, I've heard of one guy in the comments before who was a vegan construction worker making it happen. Like, when are you ever going to see a vegan construction worker? Can you imagine sipping smoothie for 2 hours while you're trying to swing a hammer and make shit happen? Like, it's not going to happen.
No, it doesn't happen at all. And it's really funny when, you hear that. And I just posted a video right this second, multitasking, about you did it wrong. And you hear that from people like Vegan Gains, who admittedly his diet is such crap that it gives him depression, yet he can have a platform to tell people like me, who's cured a life-threatening disease, that I did the diet wrong.
Right.
And really my premise in the video is like, if I did the diet well enough to cure a disease and I stayed on that protocol, and then it led to malnourishment in its own disease, wouldn't it have been absolutely foolish not to make some type of refinement? Like, what's more idiotic, to stay on something that doesn't work based on a belief system, or to simply make a refinement and help yourself royally?
Agree. So at this point, I'm going to kind of turn it over to the audience here. If you guys, I've seen a lot of questions. I'm sorry if I've been ignoring you. I haven't. It's just very hard to, it's very hard to keep up with the chat and have a conversation at the same time. It's a skill. And also I don't like to, I can tell when I'm reading the chat, like I'm trying to talk to you here.
Yeah.
And then the chat's here. Like, my guests can see that, guys. Like, they see my eyes wandering all over the place.
You're doing good, man. You're very ESPN for sure. That's why I'm not doing any live stuff right now, because I'm an older guy than most people. I'm 40, just turned 40, and technically I'm the kid that I didn't have a computer in high school. I didn't have a computer my first 3 years in college. I'm a product of the late 90s. So the live chat thing for me is like, I'm just now able to send that Zoom invite. So that's where I'm at. So you're doing great, dude. Don't worry.
Well, I want to say, I mean, I didn't know you were 40, man. Like, you could have easily been my age, and I'm 34. And I wanted to mention earlier, like, I think hands down, anybody in the audience who's seen you for years, like, it's pretty easy to say unequivocally that you look the healthiest and the best that we've ever seen you. And to the point, like I said earlier, is this the same guy? I like that. That's how serious, that's how different it is, Crazy.
Yeah. I think the proof is in the pudding, and I'm not doing anything crazy, and it's just not to name too many other people, but the person who first really sparked my curiosity, and I butcher his name every time, so I'm sorry, Three Ridge. I mean,
Yeah.
he went from being the ultimate sick vegan to, I was like, wait, is Hulk Hogan's son is doing a meat diet? Like, what's up with this? Like, he obviously got drastically different looking from the way he was eating. My experience wasn't as drastic as that, but I mean, just go look at a video from 3 years ago and then look at a video from this week. And it's like, it's completely different human being for sure. My face is structured different. My neck is wider, my traps, my everything that has to do with androgen receptors is different.
I talked to my mom today and I said, you know, there's people who comment and say, hey, Drew, you look healthier than you did even 6 months ago. You definitely look better than you did as a vegan. And it's such subtle changes on a day-to-day basis that I can't really tell, you know what I mean? And I'm the same weight too. So for me, it's about weight, but it's really not. Like the face is fuller, things like that. And she's like, oh God, no. She goes, you look terrible as a vegan. She goes, do they need me to come on the channel and talk about it?
No,
like
dude,
even my mom.
Yeah, not to butt in, but that's one thing that I noticed about you when you kind of started coming back on the map and I started seeing your stuff on YouTube. And then I was like, oh shit, you know, Drew is eating animal foods as well, just aesthetically. And I look at everyone from the position of sizing people up because I'm like a jiu-jitsu fighter and a boxer and you know, an athlete. So what you do is you size people up. And before you looked healthy, and comparatively to the community you're around, you looked like a more muscular and healthier version of a lot of people. But you instantly, it was just like the V-taper and more shoulders, more arms, more pecs, broader neck. Even at the same body weight, I think that it's you look different too. That's the thing. Bobby looks different. I look different. Tim looks different. It's unequivocal. You cannot deny the facts.
100%, man. So we've got some comments here. How to heal chronic constipation. That's a good question. You got any thoughts on that, Rob?
Yeah, I mean, you know, approach your digestion just like anything else. Three main things are going to do the trick: diet, some form of focused cleansing and detoxification, and then daily movement. That's the basics. Most of the time with constipation people, you get a little more, you get loose before it gets normal. So, you know, a keto approach that's really fat focused is probably your best bet. That's going to be your best bet with constipation. Most of the time it's like you're backed up because you're having that too many carbs, too many sugar, too much fiber, undigestible stuff. And it's just creating plaque. It's like a mess. So liquids, high fat diet, some cleansing, some movement, focusing on twisting movements and squatting, and it should balance out.
Someone said, does Rob take any supplements, vitamins, or electrolytes?
No, nothing. Well, salt.
That's what I do too, man. It's so nice not to worry about that stuff at all. Not the B. Oh, is the B12? Am I going downhill? Like, nah, just eat salt, eat the meat. You're good. And to tack onto that, any thoughts on the grain-fed versus grass-fed situation? You know, say
I've
somebody
eaten
can't.
A lot of both. I've eaten a lot of both. You know, I have heard comments like from nutritionists. Not that nutritionists know anything about nutrition, but some out there are pretty smart. It was a woman, and I think she was on Primal Edge's show interviewing, and she said something like, I would rather have my clients eating Walmart meat than eating a vegan diet. From my experience, I feel amazing on corn and grain-fed meat. I spend time every year in Nebraska and Omaha with my family. And while I'm there, I eat a ton of steaks. Omaha steaks are generally not grass-fed. While I'm eating pounds and pounds of filet mignon at an affordable rate in Omaha, Nebraska, I feel freaking amazing. Now, I think from a healing perspective, why not be well-rounded? If you can afford the grass-fed, go for it. If you can't, though, make sure you're eating some liver, make sure you're eating some organ meat, make sure you're doing some other well-rounded approaches and not just relying on that single nutrient. So if you're healing or trying that, then you got to focus a little bit more on not focusing on the lower quality. But if you're just someone who's trying to be healthy, you're not trying to overcome something and you're just trying to get some gains and improve your life, I think a large amount of non-grass-fed meat can be okay. Now, I'm someone who also does eat a lot of eggs and a lot of salmon, and a decent amount of butter and yogurt. So I'm not just straight, meathills.com beef salt all day long, Michaela Peterson style. That's not me. I need a little variety. And quite honestly, some days the last thing I'm going to do is eat red meat. I don't feel like it, man. And if I don't feel like it, I'm not going to do it. So I think that kind of answers the question for the most part.
Yeah, for sure. And we've got so many good questions coming in. And we got a couple donations as well. JG Lee for the $5. He says, Rob, thank you for coming on the stream. He's a big support. JG's a big supporter of the stream. He says, we appreciate you sharing your knowledge. And I agree. This has been fantastic.
Cool. Thanks, Gigi.
Inganels says, any way to cure milk protein allergy or egg allergy? And they also threw a super chat down. So thank you, Inganels.
Yeah, and it's probably not what you want to hear. It's just stop eating them for a long ass time. Let your gut biome completely heal, and then slowly reintroduce them, and be honest with yourself. You may not ever eat those foods again, but in reality, who cares? There's other foods to eat. But the path to seeing is first heal the gut, then slowly reintroduce and be honest and see what happens. Maybe like for me, for instance, cow dairy doesn't do me very good, especially milk. I just can't get away with drinking milk. But some cow butter here and there, yep. Goat butter, hell yeah. And goat yogurt, oh man, all day, just does me great. So kind of knowing yourself and knowing what's going to work and having some level of that nuance is important as well.
Is it different for you, whether it's raw or whether it's pasteurized? Do you notice any difference, or you just can't handle it, period?
Just can't handle it, period. If you want to see a pretty cool video, I did like 60 or 30 days about 6 months ago, where all I was doing was drinking raw milk. That's it, the only food. And man, it was it was crazy. Like my skin and the tone of my body was beautiful. I was like this glowing pink thing. And my teeth were white, and I was like super juicy and filled out. I felt like I looked great, and I did have a ton of energy, and my lifts felt super good, but I was constantly, my stomach, man. Oh man, it was just rough. It was like veganism on steroids. It was diarrhea and pooping and gurgling and constant just uncomfortable feelings in my gut. So after that experiment, I stopped all dairy for like 3 months or 2 months. And then I slowly started bringing some goat butter, some raw goat butter in. That worked really well. And so I just kept pounding that in and upping it and upping it and upping it to kind of where I'm at now.
Nice. And we got another super chat coming through from Horatio. Thanks, Horatio. Once again, he says, can you deadlift 500 pounds naturally? What do you think about that, Rob?
Pounds. I don't think I've tried to max out on deadlift. I can rep 325 for 8 reps pretty easily. My squat is weak. I'm like I can't do a 1 rep squat to save my life. I could put 225 on and do it 15 times. I like pull-ups and overhead press. Those are my like favorite lifts.
That's very endomorphic of you, or ectomorphic of you.
Yes, it is.
I'm basically all arms and shoulders, and then my back is okay, and the legs are so weak, like pathetically weak. But don't worry, guys. I'm gonna get jacked here with all of these new butter tricks and freaking honey, dude. I'm gonna get super swole. Somebody was saying in the chat too that you can't gain weight on a carnivore diet. Like, settle down. There's tricks. There's more tricks.
You can.
So my buddy Jason says, do you think a vegetarian, funny how you said vegetarian, Jason, because I know you're a damn vegan. He said, do you think a vegetarian could thrive not eating meat? Now, this is somebody who has a vegan tattoo on their hand. Mm-hmm. And also he has some skin issues as well. So, like, you're his guy right now. You're probably the first guy who's breaking through to Jason. I know he's already researching what meat to buy at the store right now. So talk some sense to him, Rob.
What I would say is, and I'll be literal. Can a vegetarian have success long term? I think possibly. Can a pescatarian, if you add fish and eggs? Now you're really getting towards something that I think could work. Man, just the honest truth is, here's what I think the vegan diet works really well for: cleansing and detoxification, especially when it's done with all whole foods in a high carb, low fat manner, releasing all the oils and every single trigger food you can possibly not eat. To me, that's the best utilization for the vegan diet. And I've really given this thought and had a lot of experience with it. To answer his question, I think you have to make a different refinement. You have to, if you're going to be vegetarian, you'd be eating a good amount of whatever dairy you could handle, really, because
he's also somebody that is coming from the other end of the scale, the endomorph side, massive calves. He's just built differently. We're the same height, but he's a much bigger guy. He came from over 200 pounds. Mm-hmm. He's capped out at a minimum weight of about 180, and he eats, so like he's struggling to lose that fat. You know what I mean?
So honestly, if I was him and I was like in a place where I'm like, I'm staying vegetarian, first I would figure out what that even means to me. To me, that means dairy's all good. I would do raw eggs. I would find a dairy source, whether it's yogurt, kefir, milk, butter, that I can actually do. And I would derive my calories from raw eggs and dairy. And then I'd round out my vegetarianness with whatever non-trigger foods from the vegan world I actually know work for me. Some fruit, some greens, keep it super simple. That approach on paper might work. Have I experimented with that? No. So I can't say. But if I was going to try it, that's how I would do it.
Now, being the skin expert that you are, have you ever seen anybody cure vitiligo?
Yes. Yeah. But that's a long road. It's just a long road. It takes like, it's going to take a serious amount of time and pretty serious focus to really cure that and really get it sustainable. But I've come across a lot of people. That's pretty common in the atopic derm world as well.
What does that mean?
Atopic derm and sebderm. So with dermatitis and eczema, and this is where things start to get really silly in the dermatological world. There's like 850 different diagnoses of eczema. There's like over 1,500 different dermatitis diagnoses, atopic, seb, all of these different things. Now, back in the day, it used to be called dermatitis, which means skin inflammation. And it was just, you have disease on your skin. It's an inflammatory thing. And they're going to try to address it dermatologically from that way. Now, because of how pharmaceutical based everything is, the eczema community and all the skin disease community is just like the cancer and AIDS community. We've hook, line, and sinker and believed what the propaganda machine has told us. You will never heal your disease, period. You will be sick forever. Your only path to healing is to buy these drugs from your local drug dealer for the rest of your life to monitor and mess with the symptoms. That's your only path. So if people are in that mindset and they believe that, then the truth of using food to heal, it's just never going to happen. But and I'm kind of rambling a bit, but really it does come down to you have to address the food, period.
Well, unfortunately, he went vegan because I told him it was going to probably help him with his vitiligo, and it did not help him ultimately. So that's,
here's the thing,
it's on me.
Well, it's on you, but it's not a bad place to start. If any person who's come to me and they're like, okay, here's what I've done. I went vegan for 6 months, and I stop them there and I say, okay, cool, you did some work, and we can build off that. It's not that the vegan diet, like I said,
it's not a total loss.
No, it's not a total loss. It's a tool, and it can be utilized for certain things. It's just that he might have utilized the tool slightly wrong, or he might have utilized it perfect, and it's just time to move on.
Got it. Beautiful. Well, we'll leave that there. We've had a couple other people asking about how to heal dysbiosis. Now, I'm guessing they're talking about gut dysbiosis. Mm-hmm. And what do you think about that? Isn't that kind of what we asked earlier regarding like candida?
Dysbiosis is it's a kind of a general term. It really, here's the take home for dysbiosis: too many carbs, too much fat equals dysbiosis. If you need to get into a place where you're going to eliminate it, you got to eliminate one of the factors. So easiest, best way to do it, eliminate sugar for a solid block of time, 30, 60 days.
Like 100%.
Like 100%. Just go zero carb.
Zero carb. Got to be done. Zero carb.
Well, not necessarily zero carb in the form of like, okay, there's some carbohydrates in fish and there's carbohydrates in eggs and there's carbohydrates in that. Not
what about like milk?
That one might be, I would keep my carbs in a keto zone. That's an easier way to say it.
Okay. Perfect.
Not
under 100 grams. Is that worth it? Is that
that could
doable?
Do it? I would say for the sake of this intervention, under 50 would probably be better.
Okay.
And once you are there, stay there for 60 days. allow the gut to naturally unfold and kind of reach its own, balance again. If that doesn't happen, then you might have to go into longer or deeper interventions. That's when you might have to bring in deep cleansing. You might have to bring in some focused movement, some physical interventions, dry brushing, squats, things like that.
Okay. Somebody wanted to ask you about neurodermatitis. What is that?
That's a super fancy word your dermatologist told you so that you can get the new biologic called, what's it called? Dupixent. Literally, it's nothing. He's trying to explain to you, or trying to explain the theory of eczema being a neurological disorder, which is laughable.
Okay. And Luke says, what does Rob think are the key benefits raw animal foods can provide? What are they best for?
Oh gosh, good question. I think what I noticed personally, and I don't have any data, no long-term studies on this, but what I noticed personally is if my digestion feels like it could get moving quicker, the raw animal foods, boom, they can really move things digestionally for me really well. Also, I think that if you just have a really common sense approach and you take a look back at our ancestors, just human development, you're going to cut open some prey or stumble upon an animal, and you're going to grab the organs, you're going to take a bite, you're going to grab some meat, and before the predator comes back and kills your ass, you're running. So I think some amount of raw organ meat, I love raw eggs. They're kind of like my go-to raw food, is definitely needed to round the whole thing out. I don't think you have to get crazy and eat a predominantly raw carnivore diet for it to be healing. And I could go so far as to say, if you're getting in, a little bit of liver, 6 ounces a week, and it's raw, you're probably doing pretty good.
Yeah, I agree. I do feel a certain type of way when I eat raw liver. It does give you a little bit of like a satisfying boost of just like feel goodness. It's the opposite of depression, whatever the hell that is. It's a little piece of happiness, really.
How beans used to feel, it's the opposite of that.
Yeah, totally. Lot of good questions. Chat is moving. Let's see. What else we got here? We got people arguing about whether or not to add beans and rice and vegetables. And listen, guys, I think you just heard what Rob said about how beans used to feel. It's the opposite of happiness. So I'm not adding on in a daily dose of beans personally. It's a once in a.
I was just going to say, arguing about what food does to humans is like arguing about how big your feet are. It doesn't freaking matter, and everyone's different. I have friends who eat beans like crazy, and their ethnicity has been eating beans since beans were born. They don't have problems with beans, period. They don't. Beans for them work well. For me, they don't. Period.
There's also so many ways to prepare these ancestral foods that we've talked about. I brought this up the other day. Sean Baker had a guest, a doctor who went to Peru, and he studied these tribal people on how they eat potatoes. It's like a big part of their calorie source. They eat potatoes. So, one tribe eats potatoes because they're so toxic, the anti-nutrients in these potatoes, and the tribe knows this for generations and generations. They cook this clay up with it. They make a paste with it. So they're literally eating this clay from the earth, and they're dipping their potatoes into the clay, and they're eating it with each bite. And that disables the anti-nutrients in the food. Like, that is some technical shit. Like, we don't even know that in modern day.
That's so far advanced from modern nutrition.
Yeah. Another tribe, what they do is they take thousands of pounds of potatoes when they harvest them at one time. They throw them in a big pit, and then they cover the pit, and they leave them underground to ferment for months.
Wow.
And then they have a minimum time limit before they pull those potatoes out and they start to use them. So again, it's like who's actually doing this? Who's actually fermenting their foods and preparing their rice and their beans the right, correct way that's going to give you no gas and no issues and unlock the nutrients in these foods,
I did, and it still didn't work. You know what I mean?
Same.
It's like, and that goes back to my video I posted today. You did it wrong, dude. Okay, name a subject or a part of my vegan diet that I did wrong. Okay, beans. I did every single thing from sprouting to soaking to growing my own to getting local ones to getting non-local ones to doing it Ayurvedic to doing it microbiotic. I did it every single way, and each result produced the same thing: bloated, gas, and a trumpet ass for me. Period.
Bloated, gas, trumpet ass. Really Organic says, I feel good on beans, but only if they're pressure cooked. So I want to talk about that a little bit, going back to the preparation. Now, I could handle, and I'm Cuban, so my lineage has had a lot of black beans, right?
Mm-hmm.
I could handle quite a few black beans. I could handle canned black beans, no problem, no gas, literally perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Lentils, red lentils, doesn't matter how they're prepared, terrible trumpet ass.
Mm-hmm.
Chickpeas, oh my God, the worst. Yep. Everybody, and whether they were pressure cooked or not, by the way, I've had lentils pressure cooked, I've had chickpeas pressure cooked. They all gave the same issue for me personally. So again, it's like we're so different, and that is why this conversation is still interesting to this day. The whole health and food conversation is because people are trying to make definitive answers about, like, dude, how you don't even give the same advice to somebody who's 500 pounds obese male or 100-pound underweight female who's 5'10". Like,
right.
You're going to give different advice to them on a caloric basis, a macronutrient basis, maybe. Everything is different.
Drastically different. And every human, even my Caucasian, blonde-haired, blue-eyed, German descent, 5'10", 150-pound client who has the exact same biomarkers as Dave, who's also German and 5'9" and 152 pounds, and on paper exactly the same. Well, one's super thriving on basically meat and just salt, and the other one's thriving on what you'd probably consider like a good old-fashioned keto diet, where he's having his exact amount of carbs and he's having lots of green vegetables, and he's not super crushing the protein, but he's getting plenty of fat. And like, those are big differences in nuance, and they're the same person literally, and it's just completely different needs, way different.
We've only got him for a few minutes here, guys. We'll probably wrap it up, and we'll probably ask, I saw somebody talking about fish. I don't want to skate away from that one. The best way to prepare fish to preserve the omega-3s, if that's something that you even are concerned with. And also, are you aware that there's some sort of debate on the omega-3s? Like, we're getting too many, the DHA situation. I'm not sure if you're familiar with this.
Yeah, I'm in the camp of, like, I'm a Natasha Campbell McBride flag waver right now. And it's like, give me as much DHEA and cholesterol as I can get in my body every day, because I can feel the difference of what it does to me. Will I be like that forever? No, maybe not, but right now it's working. I take a laid back approach to nutrition in a way where it's like, eat some raw, eat some cooked, and don't stress over the nuance too much. Just get a little bit of both and see what it feels like. For me, I love raw fish, and it tastes really good and it gets me really lifted. But there comes a time when my body goes like, I don't want that at all. Like, ew, gross. So I'm not going to be slamming raw salmon in my mouth when it's looking gross. It's funny. I'm either generally in the mood for mostly beef or mostly fish, and not usually both at the same time. And I don't want to get too much into like my body's knowing what omega ratios it needs and wants, but I don't know, man, the body's pretty wise. And when I listen to my intuition with eating, or not my intuition, but my body's data, it tends to do me pretty damn good.
Okay, we'll finish it off with this from Christoph. He says, Drew, ask him about the must-do medical tests, blood, stool, allergies, histamine, etc., when you have skin problems and dermatitis. So we'll cap it off there. And what do you have to say about that, Rob?
That's a great question. And I actually call them the opposite. They're a must-don't do medical test, because here's why. You're going to go to your dermatologist, and each one of those tests is inconclusive and costs $250. So you're going to spend a G, and you're going to get no information, and you're going to be in your dermatologist or MD's back pocket for, now he's got the data that matches up with the science of what drug you need to take now, and he's going to put that in front of you, and he's going to really mess with the analyzing part of your brain. He's going to say,
part of the sales pitch.
It's part of the sales pitch. It's part of the business. It's not a health service anymore. It's the business of medicine. And business of medicine is a really nice politically correct way of saying drug dealing. And you're going to get roped into taking the medication. Whereas if you just focus on your gut and cleansing and detoxification and healing your body, and you do that for a year, you may not need to take a single test at all. And I tell everyone, start the process, do 6 months, see where you're at. If you haven't drastically improved, then maybe some testing to get some more nuanced data could be could be usable. For me, in my practice of consulting with humans, it does me no good. Everything, I did all the tests, and funny, the things that they told me I was most allergic to, guess what they are? Fish, eggs, dairy, and that's what I eat daily. So I don't, the Western medicine approach at this point doesn't get much love from me in any way, shape, or form. Now, each practitioner within it, I don't have any hate for, and a lot of them are great. But in general, I think it's nasty.
Word. Man, Rob, this has been a fantastic episode. This is capping off the end of Bro Weekend. I had Evan and then Bobby yesterday, and now you. It's been
Awesome.
just incredible. I really appreciate you coming on. This was a great conversation. And I mean, I'm sure we could keep going because, you know, John Rose, I want to talk to you about all your drama videos that you got on your channel, but we'll have to save it for another time.
Yes,
Again,
we'll definitely do this
you.
again. You know, thanks so much for including me in this, you know, bromance of a weekend. It's a, you know, great way to get the Christmas season, you know, underway. Thanks so much for having me. God bless all of your fans, even though I don't know if I believe in God, but I like that word.
I like it too.
Much love, and thanks, man.
All right. Peace out, Rob. Thanks, brother.
Have a good
See
one.
ya.
Bye-bye.
Fantastic episode, guys. Fantastic guest. I really, really like that one. That may have been my favorite all-time live stream, I think. Yeah, that was great, man. The guy had so much information for me personally because I'm a greedy SOB. And man, damn, excellent. I hope you guys really enjoyed that. The last of the Brohekins. Yeah, we had Evan, then Bobby. Now we have Rob to just cap it off, and it was just the perfect timing because I had him in the books for months, and then I just left. And he even followed up with me. He's like, "Hey, man, when are we doing this thing?" And I was like, "Oh man, I'm not doing YouTube right now. I've got some other things." And now that we're going full force on this, bring them on, man. 4 days in a row, guys. 3 hours a day. No short episodes. 4 guests. No shortage of nothing. Full blast. Full time. That was excellent. A+. I love it. Rob rocks. Get him on. Get him and Evan on at the same time in the future. That could definitely be a thing. Yeah. Evan, you know, Evan's so funny, man. He texted me afterwards. I said, "Hey, man, thanks for coming on the show. Appreciated that." And he goes, he's like, "Man, we got to do a podcast together." And he wants to do a podcast now. So it's funny. What's up, Haleman? How's everybody doing up in here? You guys enjoy that? How many people we still got in the channel? 180. Love it. Hey, if you guys haven't already hit like on the stream, please do so now. Big thanks. Subscribe. You get your little name pop up on the screen and feel good. I'll shout your name out. Say hi in the chat too. If you guys are just lurking, I like my lurkers to say hello. How'd you enjoy that episode? Even if it's your first time saying a damn thing in here, just say hi. That's all you got to do. You don't need to be typing all day. You don't need to be one of these crazy, wacky people in here talking all day long. Just say hi. I like to see the new name. I like to see the new faces around here. Bro Weekend with Durin Rider probably includes 2,000 miles on a bicycle. Hey, you all are all welcome for what we have been rocking this weekend. My pleasure. It's gone by very quickly. I thought I was going to be like struggling halfway through this thing because some days I actually lose my voice. But apparently it's been bulked up. I bulked the voice up. Dubson says, "Yeah, Drew, just checking in, man. I've been here the whole time, and I have to agree that was one of the best episodes." Thanks, Dubson. You're always a great positive supporter. Andy, what's up, man? Andy Thames. WT, I seen you in the getting into the mix yesterday with the Frank Tufano stream. Clown Mazard said Evan was so shy at the beginning yesterday, but then he couldn't stop talking. I knew that was gonna happen. You see him, he's kind of sitting back and he's doing his thing, and then he gets all into it. You know what I mean? That's Evan Rock, man. That's Evan Rock. You gotta suck him in. Devox says, Cheyenne says, lurkin'. Hey, Cheyenne. Devox says, "So what are we going to do about withdrawal until the next live stream now?" I don't know. You're going to have to just detox like the vegans. You're going to Drew detox. Great stream. Thank you, George. Daniel Moonies, what's up? Hey. Necro Kitty, lurkin'. The lurkers are coming out. Love it. Sec411, Susan, why are you saying I can't gain weight? I actually haven't been able to gain weight on pure carnivore. I've done it with a little rice, I'm figuring it out still. I'm gonna do more butter. I've never done additional overt fats like that. I actually use very little butter.
You're Joe Rogan. I'm Joe Rogan. We're all Joe Rogan, dude.
We're all Joe Rogan, dude. Thank you for the big dono, Kokabora. Missed most of this, but I'm sure it was great. Will rewatch later. Thanks for the 4 streams. You are very welcome. Thank you for the 10 pounds. And that one is 100% without a doubt worth the rewatch. I asked a million questions. We were like banging it out. It was so fucking satisfying. Thank you, Rob. And also, I love the questions afterwards too. We did a little 30-minute Q&A with the audience, and you guys had awesome questions too, which we just let Rob fire off, and he knew what was up, man. Dubson says, have you seen Paul Saladino's response to James Wilk's appearance on Joe Rogan yet? I have not seen that yet. I probably will watch that because Paul is going to be coming on the show soon, probably next week. Oh, and Cole from the Snake Diet is interested in coming on the show as well, guys. So I'm going to have to make a date with him, and we've been talking. We're going to make it happen. Oh, please don't be putting the Joe Rogan RIP up in this chat, WT. You're like King Frank Tufano troll. You ain't doing that in here. Everybody take your little mask off. Take your troll mask off. Have a seat. Be normal in the chat, all right? Please. Folksaga, hello, lurker. Hello, hello. Hopefully I'm not missing anybody. Susan said, cool. I said you can't gain weight until you add plants and rice, etc. Love your channel. Hey, thank you. I think it's possible, though. I think with added butter, I think with bringing the fats, the protein down a little bit, like I'm eating quite a bit of quantity of meat. I'll bring the size of the meat down a little bit, add in some fats, some butters. Also, I'm going to probably add in a little bit of honey, which again is still technically carnivore. And I think that will make it happen. The content was really dense today, and Rob is a really wise and chill guy. Yes, and more so than any guest, Rob's path and my path are so similar. Like the way he describes things, the way he talks about things, I would almost bet that he is the same personality type as me. He's probably an ENFP. I can almost bet that. And love it, man. Rob kicked absolute ass today. Zombie says, Drew, what's up with the hair? You get that from the same place Harley did? You know, some guy, this pistachia dickhead in my comments section, said that my hairline is receding. What? Where? That hairline is strong, bro. I've had the same like little V cut here forever too. So anyway, assholes. Raw Matt would be interesting. I got to look into him. I don't know who that is. Drew, what about Seamland? He'd be a great guest too. Ah, Seam. I like Seam. Yeah. I forgot about him. I need to get him on. Good call. Next week, I'm trying to put together Darth Ouija from Keto Gains, jacked ass, badass, long-term keto guy, and Snake Diet guy would be just an epic weekend. Also, I've been hearing from some females in the audience that they want some more women guests. Let me know who you want to see. Let me know who you want to see. And I got Kate on. She's really one of the only people that I have any type of personal connection with. So other than that, there's not a whole lot of chicks out there talking about this stuff, is there? Devox says, Drew, try not to gain weight on homemade ice cream. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. He says, egg yolks, heavy whipping cream, stevia. Got you. People are saying butter is going to work. Butter, honey, full fat yogurt. Yeah. I'm already on full fat milk. I'll be grabbing the butter sticks. I'm going to go buy some, what do you call it? Blanking on the name. The butter that everybody likes. Can't think of it. I haven't eaten lunch today. It's 3:10. Paul Robinson and Paul Saladino. Yeah, that's going to be a good weekend. I think Sean Baker's down too. He's been busy lately because he just launched his new website and all that stuff. But we used to talk in the DMs and whatnot. He's always been really responsive with me. I've interviewed him on Coach Charles's channel. So we got a little bit of rapport there. I'm going to try and get him on as well. In my opinion, Sean Baker's like the man of all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Jack Hammer says, you got gray hair though. Yeah, I know. Sorry. That's genetic, I believe. Although people tell me that I could take a copper supplement and fix it. We'll see. You guys are helping me out though. I mean, somebody talked me out of the garlic thing. I stopped doing the garlic. JG says that would be huge if you can get Cole. Thanks for turning down the volume of super chat notifications. Yeah. During the actual guest portion, I'll turn down the super chat notifications so that you guys don't miss out on anything that they say. And sorry if anybody, you guys, I saw somebody was mentioning like, you were ignoring my super chat. Guys, I'm not ignoring the super chats. Trust me, they mean the world to me. And I really appreciate it. I really, really do. Even the smallest ones. But when the guest is talking, I definitely don't want to interrupt them. And sometimes when they say something, I have like this thought in my mind. I'm already looking at myself on the screen. I'm already looking at the chat. Like, there's so much stuff going on. All I can do is focus on holding that one thought and not forgetting it so that I can keep the conversation going. It's tough. It's really tough. And I'm ignoring the chat as much as I can, but it's hard. Redheaded Princess says, Drew, the grind doesn't stop. I want Megan Elizabeth again. She's going to actually be here in town, in person, tomorrow with her boyfriend, Joey. They're going to be in... Thanks for the sub. Wherever this is. Hey, what's up, Mitch? Thanks for the sub, bro. Anybody else? You guys should sub, man. You guys should sub up. They're going to be in town for 2 days. So we'll see if we can link up. I don't know if we'll do a live stream with that, but we'll see. Really Organic, you were not the one that talked me out of the garlic. Somebody else was telling me, and they were like, I could just feel their wisdom on it. And they were just like, dude, it's going to kill everything. Just don't do it. It's a waste of time. And I was like, it's already feeling a little woo-woo. I did it for a week. I'm just going to kick off this. And, I've talked about that Heal Your Gut guy, and he's done interviews with people who have healed their gut as well. And a lot of these people, they didn't do any sort of like antifungal protocol. They just started incorporating really solid probiotic sources and started basically doing a low carb approach, like a keto approach or whatever. Kerrygold. Yes. Sabrina read my mind. Yes. The Kerrygold butter. That's what I'm going to get. Couldn't think of the name. Sunshine State says, Cole Robinson is now suggesting eating 3 times a week for a lifetime, fasting the other days and eating fast food. Is he really? Talking about eating fast food. Why would he say that? That doesn't make any sense. Stephanie Keto, Strong Sisters, Sally Fallon, Azra. We've been talking on her stream, on her channel as well. I want to do a mukbang with her. She said that it sounds like a good idea. You guys want to see a mukbang with me and Azra? I'll eat some raw meat. We'll do a mukbang. That'd be kind of cool, right? She seems so sweet, and she looks so good for how, her age. She's like 47, 44. Sorry, Azra. She's in her 40s, mid 40s. She looks fantastic. I don't think garlic's as bad as people are saying, but I don't really need it. I don't think I really need it. And another thing, I always talk about eating hamburger buns, guys. I've kind of gotten over eating burgers recently. I'm basically all steak now. I want to just transition even cleaner, like steak, the good quality butters, the fats, the honey, all that. And I feel really good. My digestion is really good right now. What's not amazing is my weight gain. That's really the only thing that's the only missing link right now. Abyss says, Stephanie will straighten everyone out on the fat intake. What do you mean by that? Will she tell us to go higher or lower? I think she would tell us to go higher and drop the protein, if I had to guess. Prophet says, Cole doesn't promote eating fast food. People just need to read between the lines, and he's suggesting that even if you eat fast food all the time, as long as you fast, your body can take it. Yeah. I've heard him say stuff like that, and I agree. I think fasting is so powerful that you could basically kill anything that you do to your body, even if you're eating a shit diet. Susan says, thank you for telling us that you had to add to your diet to gain weight. Yeah, but I'm adding to my diet within the realm of the diet, if that makes sense. Like butter and honey are within the realm of carnivore anyway. I've never claimed to be a carnivore, but I do like experimenting with the protocol. Some days I do carnivore, some days I eat a pizza. The other night I had a pizza. I'm not a carnivore, but I'm experimenting with the carnivore protocol. Do you see what I'm saying? It's kind of like the difference between claiming vegan and eating a plant-based diet and giving yourself that flexibility. Now, if I had the stomach capacity for 4 pounds of beef per day and salt, and I had an appetite for that, I think I can make plenty of gains, just like Sean Baker's doing. But I don't have that kind of appetite. I cannot eat more than 2 pounds of beef in a day. Now, I've seen Haleman sit down to a plate of beef like that, and he can eat a bunch of food like that, but that's not how I roll. Honest says shirtless mukbang Drew. Oh, come on. Get a grip. Alexandre Marcelo, thank you for the sub. No mukbang, you will trigger me. You'll have to just close your eyes, okay? You can listen, and I'll be eating it all up in the microphone. X-Dragon says, eliminate the monster drinks, Drew. I already have. I have to be a good example, right? I have to be a good example here. I have to eliminate the monsters. I got to eat the butter. I'm on the honey. Bart versus vegan gains. Wouldn't that be a dream? That would be amazing. Fasting is the key to wasting away. What did you say? Oh, I missed that. Mukbang, Azrael will crush you. I have seen her eat a mason jar of meat with no water. Yeah, she is a monster at eating that. Susan says, I got so thin on carnivore, Drew, I had to add fruit and veggies. Con Baker is a scammer. Okay. Listen. I have personally maintained my weight on carnivore. So, and I don't have the biggest appetite in the world. Now, I agree with you. It is harder than people say, but if you are on the athletic spectrum that Sean Baker is, and you have a point to prove, it can work for you. Again, is it as comfortable as it could be to gain and maintain muscle mass? Maybe not. We'll see. I don't know how Sean Baker puts down 6 pounds of beef in a day. That is crazy to me. I think you're a troll, Susan. I think you're a troll account. Gotta say. Clogged artery Carney. My boy. Starting to get some sense talk in him. Loving the live streams. Drew, what about soy milk instead of a cow milk that can fuck no. I'm not drinking soy milk. You're out of your mind. Soy milk is trash. Common sense. JG's talking common sense keto here. Sean Baker is eating ribeyes all day. I know. I think he does it in 2 meals. How can he eat 3 pounds of beef in 1 meal? I can't do it. I can't even eat more than 1. I'm so maxed out. It doesn't matter if I go all day. Like, I can't eat more than 1 pound of beef. Yeah, the extra fat and the extra yogurt, I have a feeling is gonna do me right. Sean Baker's a big boy. Yeah, but even a 6'5", 250-pound guy, I don't see how he's eating 3 times the amount of beef that I can eat. You know? He might be twice my size, but 3 times? That's a lot. Craig says, Drew, I saw a random guy buy factory farm meat today in the supermarket. You think he's a shill? I'm done with this shill word, man. I'm done with the shill conversation. Not funny anymore. You're not blocked. No. Do you need to be blocked? Would you like to be blocked? We didn't have to block anybody today, did we? Really organic? Were people behaved? You know, I like to give people the gavel. Let them swing the hammer. Let them swing the axe. It's my favorite thing, actually. To appoint somebody to swing the executioner's axe for me. I love it. Okay, Hillary Clinton is acceptable. Yes. That would be an excellent troll account name. Yeah, Susan, I think you need to chill out. I'm pretty sure you're a straight up troll account. You might have to catch the ban here. Con Baker supports a diet that will cause multiple vitamin deficiencies. No, he's not. Do this diet to lose weight, but then incorporate veggies back into your diet. What is your veggie crusade? Veggies don't help you gain weight either. What are you talking about? Tripping. You're tripping, Susan. Hellman says you should be able to fit 5 to 10 pounds of meat. Cole Robinson is shorter than you and me and can eat like 10 pounds. It is a matter of stretching the stomach. I mean, it's it's a satiation factor, man. Like I cook a ribeye, eat the ribeye, and about a pound in, I'm like, I've lost my taste for it. And my stomach was stretched,
here comes
man.
a real steak. But just look at the texture of this thing.
Ooh, we got to lower the volume a little bit here because I have to increase it when the guests come on. Perfect. Okay. Hey, SEK or Inganals, thank you for the SEK 20. Eat the bugs, bigots. There you go. Susan has a channel? She's a real person? Oh boy. Am I getting trolled right here? Do I need to go check in to Susan? Let's check in. Let's give Susan some shout here. Susan, you got the craziest username for a YouTuber I've ever seen. Is she a real human? Wow, 8K subscribers. All right, let's check it out. Is Susan crazy, guys? You guys ready? The Prophet, it's not wrong to eat to satiety. Actually, that's probably the healthiest thing to do if you want to live long. Yeah. I don't know about 5 to 10 pounds, Haleman. I don't think I could even handle more than 2 pounds. Okay. Susan says, that is why I did not do well on the C diet. I could not eat enough meat. There are many like us. Yeah, no. I look. Meat and water is, a tough pill to swallow. Now, there's obviously other options. Like, I think even eggs are in the carnivore diet, right? Or are you talking about straight meat and water? Or are you talking about meat, water, some eggs, other stuff like that? Because I can understand you not being able to maintain weight on just salt, meat, water. One of many says, I think Sean Baker is a genetic freak. His dad is also freaking huge frame. Obviously not muscle bro, and he's 71. Yeah. He is. He's a total genetic outlier for sure. But I mean, I don't think the man's on steroids or anything like that. Abyss says, Drew, just up it like half or 3/4 of a pound. Gradual weight gain would be the most comfortable. I am not upping my meat intake at this point by any amount. I'm gonna either lower it and improve. Sorry, I'm gonna either lower it
and here we've got some cranberry juice. It's great for your penis
or vagina. Inganals, thank you for the SEK 50. Put Susan on the stream for live debate now. I refuse, Inganals. No, we don't have time for that today. My voice doesn't have time for it. But Abyss, you're saying to increase the meat intake. I'm at the point right now where I want to decrease my meat intake just on the principle of variety and if I can get away with eating something else, I probably would. I don't know who Bam Bam is. Is he like black calisthenic dude? Susan says, "Okay, I'm not a troll. I will not comment again." Don't run away, Susan. I'm not bashing you. I'm just wondering if you're talking about salt and meat only. I would understand if you couldn't maintain weight doing that. Now, the other question is, were you overweight and losing weight? And let's check out your videos. Wow, your channel is 10 years old. You're talking about Kabbalah secrets. You're talking about Esther Hicks. I don't know, Susan. This channel's a little questionable. We're moving on. We're moving on, guys. We're not going to Susan's channel. We're moving on. You want Susan versus Drew later on? Debate? Anybody want to host it? Maybe your body doesn't want to add mass. If it was like super lean and I was maybe 20 pounds heavier, I could justify that, but it doesn't really add up right now. I'm pretty light still. I do not want to do the 1970s French diet challenge. No. I do not want to do the croissant challenge or whatever. $22 Mononoke says, there are ways to increase your appetite, Drew. Have some honey and cream before your meals to increase hunger. Keep away from coffee, especially before your first meal. Utilize ACV to increase digestive ability. Yeah, you know, coffee I've gotten down to a minimum. I used to drink energy drinks, as you all know. That definitely messed with my desire for food and messed with my digestion. But I've definitely gotten off those habits. So things are... I'm eating a lot. I mean, you guys, I'm eating over 3,000 calories a day on average. Drew, do you like Parmesan cheese? Not really. Common Sense Hito says 800 calories a day from bread, 400 from sugar, 400 from booze, 500 from meat, lots of dairy, and stay lean. I mean, I'm lean. That's not my problem. Bam Bam seems to be doing well. Who's this Bam Bam? Let's take a quick look. Let's take a peek, shall we? Oh yeah, holy shit. This guy's a freaking beast. Jesus Christ. See, I don't even know if these guys are real vegans, man. Like, I don't know about this, man. It's a little questionable. These guys are all so jacked. By the way, I watch tons of these videos.
All these other workouts.
I watch tons of these like street calisthenics videos. These guys on these bars, man, freaking insane
from 10 reps
gains.
to 1 reps.
I don't know how they got this jacked. It's insane. These guys are insane. Look, they even got the girlfriends out there. Wow. Like, every single one of these guys out here is more jacked than anybody you'll see in the gym on a day-to-day basis. People are saying gear, like steroids. I don't think these guys are on steroids. And yeah, they do have the genetics on their side, 100%. Craig's going to start a channel and prove it to me? All right. Let's see it, baby. Yeah, I'm going to have to do some push-ups right now. Look at that chest, man. He's kind of got like that HGH gut, though, don't you think? He's got that little bloat going on. But it could be just... Look at that.
We need some women apparel. Need some women apparel.
Look at this guy, man. Good Lord.
We need some women apparel. Tell them we need women apparel.
Okay. Okay. No. That's first and foremost. Let's get that out the way. All right.
Yo, guys.
We out here too, right?
These guys are having a good time, man.
Merch. If you don't wear this tank top before you work out, you're not gonna perform right. I'm telling you, like, it's a fact.
So this guy's vegan. For real. I don't know, man. I never seen a vegan look like that. Never. This is like the Amon Ra situation. Like, you're telling me he's vegan and he only does bars. And he looks like that. I seen this guy too. This guy. He's a vegan as well. $53. Crazy, man. What's my max push-ups reps? I don't know. Should I bust them out right now? Should I do a max set right now? I gotta pee really bad. I'm not frozen. I'm here. I was staring at the screen, enjoying the what I was watching. You have lots of calisthenics channels on your recommended. I thought it was, yeah, dude. I got I watch that. I watch all kinds of stuff. YouTube is so good at giving me exactly what I need. Max reps. Should I do it? PB4? All right, I'm peeing, and then we'll do max rep set. All right, I'll watch. You guys can watch me. Drew, why don't you change your profile pic? Is it because you look best as vegan? Get out of here, dude.
All day, baby, red and black. Red shot, black stuff.
The longest urination of my life. Okay. We're busting out the push-ups. Push-ups, push-ups. You asked about push-ups, right?
Yes, sir.
Live and die in Baker County. Any, many, money, more, but they ain't count me. Been on my king flow, but they ain't trying to crown me. They steady searching for my music like a bounty. I make these labels huddle up like who gon' sign me. But I don't need no record deal cause I'm behind me. I walk this hard life and damn near did it blindly. But if they trying to cut a check, I thank them kindly. See money talk, I used to struggle with that lingo. But now my money bilingual, collecting pesos. I do this shit when I'm ready, fuck when they say so. You know I'm war already, and I ain't talking Dracos. I spit these bullets from my mind, no need to reload. Some say I'm late, I'm just arriving like some new growth. And just don't have your hands out when I do blow. One thing I know, two things for sure, that's all I'm saying. It's time to level up and reach my super saiyan. Although sometimes I crack a smile, I ain't playing when I say
AT, I bet they ain't see this one coming. You dig? On my Andre shit, I am a giant. On my Empire shit, I'm Lucius Lion. Wanna buy me a Benz, but I'm 50 grand short. That ain't stopping my hustle, I never buckle. Under pressure, I explode. Never fold, never told. Oh, murder is the code. You busters must don't know that. Knowledge bone is immortal.
How can you go down more? I touched my chest to the ground. I think I counted 36. I don't know what angle you guys saw, but I was touching my chest to the floor every time. I did. I don't know what that angle is. Zero push-ups. Get out of here. My chest is burning. Remember, like, camera angles, you know. Your technique was all right, Drew. Let's see. Let me take a look. Let's play the replay here. Let me take a look. Let's see. I'll tell you. I'll give you honest if it was shit. Dude, my you could see my scapulas are basically touching each other. I don't see how you can go down any further than that. My back is perfectly flat. My elbows are 45-degree angle. Those are literally perfect, picture perfect push-ups. Picture perfect push-ups. Sorry. You don't know what a push-up looks like. Oh. That's it. All right, guys. That caps off the... That caps off the 4-day extravaganza weekend. Thank you all for being here. A lot of you guys were here all 3 hours, all 4 days. That's insane. Again, appreciate it. And we're going to end it here. I'll see you guys soon. I'll announce the next guest on the show sometime this week, all right? Stay tuned, guys. Have a good night. Have a good rest of your weekend. Peace.